And we welcome you inside historic Bosse Field, just a few moments away from baseball as the Slammers and Otters look to conclude their three-game set here from Evansville. Another good evening to you. I'm Matthew Will, joining you live here from the press box. And, once again last night, we got to see an impressive performance by the Otters front to back, really. It started off with Brett Adcock on the mound, working around some adversity, kind of the same way we saw Justin Watland do earlier in the series. And at that expense is same as Parker Brahms earlier in this week. But the nice thing about Brett Adcock was he was finally able to uh, limit the hits, grab a couple strikeouts, and more importantly, his walk numbers stayed really low. And that's what's really hurt him a lot this year so far. He gave up just one run on 3 hits across 5 2/3 innings of work. Of his one run, it was not earned, of course, and that helped out his ERA as well. Jacob Bowles came in to finish off that inning, ended up going 1 2/3 innings himself, gave up the one other run on one hit as well, struck out a pair. Then we got to see Augie Gallardo hop into the game for a couple outs, help the game out, and then finally Logan Sawyer picked up his 12th save of the year. That leads the Frontier League, and it's his 37th of his professional career. He is really finding success on the mound in bunches right now as the Otters went on to win 3-2, claiming a important win in the grand scheme of things here as we edge closer and closer to the All-Star break, the halfway point of this season. Got an interesting matchup this evening as Steve Pastora is going to return to the mound for the second time in a week. Last week, he did struggle in the game at Lake Erie. Didn't even make it through 3 full innings before Ryan O'Reilly had to hop in and help him out. Desperate for a better start is Steve Pastora. We'll see what he can do on the bump this evening. On the other side, though, for Joliet, it's one of their aces, Cam Ofterhide, who's 4-2 this year, a sub 3.0 ERA, as well as 43 strikeouts. Tell you, there is a lot of good things about Cam Ofterhide's game. We're going to get to see a lot of them this evening. It's really going to be, can the Otters find success early, and what can they do to continue the success throughout the game? Because that's been the thing these last couple nights. They've found early success, but they've had no way to keep it sustained through the rest of the game. Take this time to look through the Steel Corp Frontier League standings as we work into this Thursday evening. Washington still leading the way over there in the West Division. This Evansville team is shortly behind at 2.5 games back. Big jump down to Gateway, who has now jumped into the 3 spot. Crazy how far they have risen back up after being near the bottom just a couple of weeks ago. They're 6 games back. Joliet at 6.5 back. Windy City, Schaumburg both at 8 back. Florence at 9 back, and Lake Erie is 10 back down there at the bottom. On the East Division, Quebec got a win. Ottawa was able to move 1 win closer. They are just 1 game back. 4 back are Sussex County. Then it's a pretty big gap down to Tri-City, New York, Trois-Rivières, and New Jersey. The 4 of those teams are all separated by less than 2 games right now. So things getting tight in the East Division as well. Empire State brings up the rear, 2-37. Empire State could win their first series of the year with a win tonight at New York. I'll try to keep you updated throughout the nights with the score there as well. We'll kind of take a look through the rest of what to expect tonight in the Frontier League and what games are going on, which ones I'm interested in especially. We're having a doubleheader going on between Tri-City and Trois-Rivières in Game 1. Currently, Trois-Rivières is just about to pull out a win. That would be really big for the Eagles to snag a W in Game 1 of the doubleheader. If they could sweep that doubleheader, Trois-Rivières would start to move themselves back up that East Division standing. Empire State and New York have just gotten started. They're actually in the second inning, still scoreless. Florence at Washington once again. Washington already up 1-0. Washington won the series, and now the Florence Y'alls are just trying to avoid a 3-game sweep this evening. In the bottom of the first, New Jersey and Ottawa are still scoreless. Another good one to keep an eye on is New Jersey kind of had Ottawa on the ropes a lot in these last 2 nights, looking to really close one out and get a commanding win. We'll see if they can do it this evening. Lake Erie has an early lead against Schaumburg. Schaumburg won games 1 and 2 this week already. Interested to see if Schaumburg can keep that success up here in Game 3. Quebec at Sussex County. Sussex County, in my opinion, is the hottest team in the Frontier League. They've found ways to go on the road, sweep Ottawa at their place, take 2 out of 3 at Trois-Rivières. Now they're hosting Quebec, and already have picked up a couple of wins. Watch out for the Miners of Sussex County. And then the final game other than ours going on tonight, which should get started a few minutes after we get started, Gateway at Windy City. Gateway won the first 2 games of the series. That's a Gateway squad that we're going to see 4 times this weekend. And I tell you what, there is a lot to be excited about in that series. Both Gateway and Evansville have put together really similar last 3 or 4 weeks, starting to build their records up to a good place, hitting many home runs. Of course, that's a ballpark that's made to hit home runs in there in Sauget, Illinois. We'll have game 1 for you tomorrow night, 6:45 first pitch, all 4 nights there at Gateway. I'm sure we'll talk more about that series later in the evening, but that could be a 4-game set that has a lot to do with where things finish off as we progress closer and closer towards the postseason. Of course, we've got to get through the All-Star break first, and it's going to be cool to see which players across this league are honored by the media members and coaches and broadcasters around the league, and just see kind of who they decide is worthy of those honors. I'm sure once we find out those teams, we'll be able to give that information to you and let you know, hopefully, which Otters are able to make it onto that squad. They are getting closer and closer to game time here, so we'll take our first break here, the pregame show. And right after that, we'll break down these 2 squads one final time before they finish off this 3-game set. Beautiful night for baseball from Bosse Field. Don't go anywhere. First pitch is just a few minutes away. Counting down the seconds towards first pitch. Take this opportunity to let you know that Frontier League Baseball on Flow Sports is presented by Working Distributors Evansville. Glad to have them as one of our proud partners here at the Evansville Otters. Let's walk you through both of the starting lineups for this evening's game. First, we'll start off with the visiting team, the Joliet Slammers. They'll kick it off with the shortstop, Tyler DePreta Johnson. Then we see one of 3 lefties there in the 2-hole, second baseman Matt Birch. Then it's a whole bunch of right-handed hitters as we move through the middle parts of this lineup. Mangieri and Justin Gomes kind of give a new look towards the bottom half of things. They're going to see a couple different righties tonight, obviously, with Brett Adcock not pitching tonight after pitching last night. Everyone available for the Otters are righties. That'll change things just a little bit with how the Slammers approach the dish as opposed to last night. We'll flip over to the starting lineup for the Evansville Otters. They go the opposite direction, starting off with a few lefties, just like typical. Gordon, Bierman, Baez lead us off. Sinsley, Davis, Phillips in the middle 3. McNamee, Torrelas, and Khalil round out the bottom 3. Good to see Torrelas get back out there at third base. Really liked what I've seen from him in the early parts of this season. Tell you what, he's a rock-solid defensive player, but his bat is really starting to stay hot since he made his debut a couple of weeks ago. Excited to see what he can do in that bottom third of the lineup. Well, they've just finished the meeting at the mound, and they will introduce the starting lineups. We'll have the national anthem right after that. First pitch coming at you in just a few minutes here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Don't go anywhere. Slammers, Otters coming at you next. It's game time from Evansville. Steve Pastora heads to the mound for his second start of 2022. 5'11", 195 up there. Second start in a few years. He's played baseball here and there, but he's been rehabbing an injury for the last couple of seasons, and that's really been tough on his game. Certainly looking to bounce back in this performance this evening. We'll talk more about it later in this game. I want to remind you that it's Pastora on the mound, Phillips behind the plate. That pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Give him a call at 812-475-9000. Once again, let's show you who he will face up against in this game. Tyler Dupree Johnson kicking things off in the one hole for Joliet. Birch, Jacobson, Holzwasser round out the top four. McGarry, Steering, Mangieri, Bearmore, and Gomez round us up. Three lefties in their lineup. Certainly going with a similar approach to last night. In that last game for Steve Pastora, he came out of the game right away got attacked a little bit when it came to base runners getting on and having to work around a situation that was a little bit more difficult. The beautiful play of Jeffrey Baez out in left field certainly helped. He gunned a runner down at home plate. Then the Otters were helped out by a double play in the next inning as well. But in the third, that's when they really got after Pastora. Crushers end up scoring 6 runs on 5 hits in 2 2/3 innings for Steve Pastora. He walks 3, strikes out just 1. So every part of his game is where he would like to improve tonight. A lot of potential for him to improve. All starts here with Tyler DePreta Johnson, the leadoff man for these Joliet Slammers. First pitch is on the way for ball 1, high and inside at 6:35. Next one is right down the middle. Oh, must have stayed just a hair low. They call it ball 2 on the low edge of the zone. Pastora still looking for that elusive first strike. The 2-0. That one will catch zone on the inside edge with the fastball for called strike 1. Pastora finding some consistency in the mid-90s so far. The 2-1 stays pretty much dead center of the zone, gets a called strike 2. DePreta Johnson didn't really look like he had any intentions at swinging at it. Sets him up for a 2-2. Phillips sets up on the outside edge of the plate. The 2-2 lifted high and foul to the right side. It will get out of play. And the count will remain at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Back to a little bit familiar look for the Otters defensively. We'll look at that in just a second after the at-bat of Tyler DePreta Johnson. Pastora shuffles back and forth there on the mound, has his sign, and fires home on the 2-2. It's left alone for a called strike 3, and Steve Pastora starts off the day with a German American Bank strikeout. Exactly the way he wants to get it started. Let's take a look through that defensive alignment for the Otters this evening. Little different look out in left field. Zach Bierman returning to the outfield. Miles Gordon, Elijah McNamee round out the play out there. Anthony Torrelas returns to third base this evening. George Khalil returns to short. J.R. Davis stays put there at second. Steven Sinsley back at first base. Dakota Phillips making his first start behind the plate of this homestand. Pastora nods home towards Phillips, and here comes first pitch to Matt Birch. It's lifted high and pretty shallow to left field. Khalil will drop back, and he'll be the one who brings it in for out number 2. Nice quick out there. So quickly, that'll bring up the center fielder, Kyle Jacobson. Jacobson, another guy who's looking for some consistency in this series. Really has been unable to find it in the early stages. Jacobson gets himself into the box, batting .263 on the season. Just 10 extra base hits, 7 are doubles, 3 are homers. First pitch to him stays a bit low for ball 1. Pastora is finding some consistency with his fastball velocity, sitting pretty much steady between 90 and 94. The 1-0. Swinging and missing is Jacobson, as the fastball just snuck past him. And Pastora has evened himself up in the count. Has himself an opportunity where he could jump ahead. The kick and delivery from Steve Pastora. A half swing. Won't matter. It's a called strike. Well, it took him a couple of pitches to find the zone, but ever since he has, he's only missed the zone once. Looking much more consistent up there. 2 outs, nobody on. The 1-2 count towards Kyle Jacobson. Stays high for ball 2, and the count evens up. Crowd starting to fill in nicely here on a thirsty Thursday. We've got our friends from Jacobs Village here this evening. Friends from Meyer also. Post-game fireworks will conclude the 3-game homestand tonight. Should be a great night at the ballpark. 2-2 is swung on and missed. And it's a second German American Bank strikeout for Steve Pastora. That's a way to start in game number 2 for him. We've got the bottom half of the first. Coming at you next, Gordon, Bierman, and Baez headed to the plate for the Otters. Ready to go at the bottom half of the first inning. Cam Ofterhad on the mound for the Joliet Slammers, making his second season approach with the Slammers. He's been very good on the mound so far this season. In fact, he was one of my players to watch as we entered this series. Comes in with a 4-2 record, sub-3 ERA, over 40 strikeouts this season. He leads the team in that category. Tell you what, he's going to be a lot of fun to watch if he can keep up what he has done most of this season. It's Ofterhide on the mound. And Gomez behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery for Joliet is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Gordon, Bierman, Baez leading off once again for the Otters. Middle three of Sinsley, Davis, and Phillips stays consistent. The bottom two that we see the change up as Torrelas enters the lineup and George Khalil returns to the lineup this evening. Edward Jones, leadoff hitter of the game. Miles Gordon will start to make his way to the plate. Big smile on his face as he's ready to play baseball on a beautiful Thursday evening from Evansville. A little bit of breeze tonight blowing out towards left center field. We'll see if that helps the Otters any. Been kind of surprising to see the Otters only hit one home run in this two-game set thus far. That's part of the bread and butter of this team, is finding ways to hit home runs. Gordon's dug in, ready for his first pitch of the at-bat. Stays high and outside for ball one for him. Gordon on the season is a .287 hitter. He's fallen down a little bit since his big rush just about 3 weeks ago. 1-0 towards him, stays high and outside. He's way ahead in the count. You can probably hear it there in the background. Secret weapon in attendance once again this evening. Has his cowbell out and in full force. Pitch does find the zone for a called strike one, but Miles Gordon stays ahead in the count. He looks back and asks for reassurance from home plate umpire Mike O'Leary. O'Leary's behind the plate. He's got Mike Fisher over on the first base side of things, Marvin King on the third base side. Gordon zooms one out towards left field. I'll tell you what, won't be any issue for Lane Barrymore. He does not have to move an inch out there in left, and that's the first out of the inning for the Otters. That'll bring up the left fielder, Zach Bierman. Good to see him back in the outfield playing a game out there. He does play a very strong left field for the Otters. He did it a couple times while the team was in Canada and has just been a guy available to do it when Jeffrey Baez needs a day off of fielding here and there. First pitch home. Hefty swing from Bierman, and he ends up empty-handed. A swinging strike one was just a bit out in front of that. Bierman has fallen out of the lead in the league in home runs, as his count evens up at 1-1. Trevor Achenbaugh of the Gateway Grizzlies has hit his 14th last night, so he jumps Bierman and now has just one up. Of course, that doesn't mean too much to Zach. The 1-1 stays high and outside. Bierman's ahead in the count. We've seen Zach Bierman bounce on and off both the batting average and RBI list multiple times this year. He currently sits in the 10 to 20 region in both categories. Hefty swing from Bierman is just a little bit short, and his count evens up at 2 balls, 2 strikes. The defense has shifted a bit to the right side for Zach Bierman. The 2-2 is headed his way. He pushes it foul to the left side, and we'll take a look at the defensive alignment for these Joliet Slammers. They've got Bearmore in left, Bullswater in right. Centering them both is Kyle Jacobson there in center field. Left to right across the infield, McGarry at third, DePrita Johnson at short, Birch at second, and Jerry is at first. The 2-2 stays a hair high and maybe outside as well. The count heads to full for Zach Bierman, tonight's left fielder. Ofterhide has himself ready. The 3-2 catches the zone, a called strike 3, and Bierman works himself to a full count, then has to walk away with a backwards K. It's 2 up, 2 down for the Otters as the designated hitter Jeffrey Baez makes his way to the plate. So far on the year, Jeffrey Baez batting .274. He's really worked on some things to work his way up slowly but surely. He was trending towards the bottom of the Otters team in batting average and has since started to work his way up. First pitch to him. Stays too high for ball 1, maybe a bit inside as well. The wind is certainly helping Jeffrey Baez tonight. Wouldn't be surprised to see him crank one. 1-0 count, headed home. It's brought into the zone by the catcher Gomez. Count evens up at 1 ball, 1 strike. The 1-1. Baez way out in front of it. He falls down in the count 1-2. Has to get defensive in there. A little bit of a wait here before the 1-2 as Ofterhide assures himself on the bump. The 1-2 stays high. Count evens up. Ofterhide pitches out of the stretch primarily, but he does have a little step back you'll see just to his backside that makes it a little bit of a windup. Baez swings and misses on a 2-2 pitch, and he'll sit down with a strikeout. Back-to-back Ks for Ofterhide in the first inning. Still scoreless from beautiful Bossy Field. Pretty quick first inning as we head to the top of the second. I want to walk you through the Seal Court Frontier League standings if you missed it during the pregame period. Washington leading the way in the West. Evansville 2.5 back. Gateway has jumped their way all the way up to third and now kind of in the conversation once again. 4-game set between the Otters and Gateway starts tomorrow night, 6:45 first pitch. Catch the game here on the Otters Digital Network. Joliet, Windy City, Schaumburg, Florence, Lake Erie, all of them tucked way in tight. The only real gaps in this division is Washington to Evansville and Evansville to Gateway. The rest is jam-packed. You win one game, you can move 2 or 3 spots, depending on how it goes. Quebec still leading the way over there on the east, and it's the same thing with Tri-City, New York, Tri-Riviere, and New Jersey. They are packed full there in the middle of the division over there on the east. Steve Pastor returns to the mound for the Otters. Managed a pair of strikeouts in that first inning as we get set for the second. Scott Holzwasser heads to the plate for his first at-bat in this game. On the season, Holzwasser is the second best hitter, and after the injury to Briley Ware earlier in this series, he's the best hitter on the team at this moment. Lifts the ball to the right side, high foul, and out of play. Ball's down to the count 0-2. Holzwasser really leading the way in those extra base hits. 9 doubles, 6 home runs, a pair of triples as well. The 0-2 towards Holzwasser. Rides high and inside. He checks the swing in time. And he stays behind the count 1-2. Pastora kicks and delivers on the 1-2. Bounces in and evens the count up. It's a good challenging pitch there against Holzwasser. Holzwasser does have 36 strikeouts on the season. That's third most on this Joliet team. A 2-2 right back up the middle, through for the game's first base hit. Single makes it all the way out to Miles Gordon in center field for Scott Holzwasser. And if anyone was going to get it started in this game for Joliet, it doesn't surprise me that it's him. It'll bring up the third baseman, Matt McGarry, who has struggled to find real consistency so far this year. 257 average, has the second most strikeouts on the team with 44, has struggled to find walks as well. First pitch on the way to Matt McGarry. Works high and inside, and it actually catches him in the stomach. And just like that, there's runners on first and second, still with no outs in the second inning. This is where things get scary. Pastora needs a couple of strong pitches to help get himself out of this jam early in the second. It'll bring up the designated hitter, Philip Steering. Last night we saw Philip Steering playing first base. He did not participate in the first game of the series on Tuesday evening. Steering's hitting .239 on the season. He's raised that average up a little bit since the series started. First pitch works high and inside for ball one. And well, Steering had to kind of turn away out of the way to keep himself safe from that pitch. 1 ball, no strikes to Philip Steering. Sent that way by Pastora. Catches the zone. Nice pitch there that fell into the outside or inside edge and evens the count up. Tell you what, every time I look down around Bosse Field, this place is filled up just a little bit more. Beautiful crowd here for Thirsty Thursday. Got our friends from Jacobs Village here, friends from Meyer. Great night for baseball. 1-1 to Steering, high inside yet again, and Pastora falls behind in the count. Defense is set up in their double play standings, about halfway through the infield dirt all the way around, and the outfielders are playing straight up in their regular positions. Pastora will step off before the 2-1. Looks in for the 2-1 count from his catcher, Phillips. Nods at his sign. Has a quick glance to first, quick glance to second. And here comes the 2-1. Low and in the dirt. Phillips is able to keep it in front of him. But the count expands out to 3-1 now. This is where Pastora's got to find something with this next pitch. First of all, you can't afford to give up the bases loaded with no outs. Second of all, you can't afford to let Cam Ofterhide pitch with a lead this early in the game. He will take it and run with it. 3-1 is the count towards Philip Steering. Zooms one to left field, down for a base hit. They are not going to test the arm of Zach Bierman. It might have been a safe play at home. Would have been hard to tell. Probably smart for Joliet to leave it at that. Still no outs, and they've got the bases loaded.
First base, number 17, Jerry.
This is where Evansville needs to, maybe it's a defensive play that would help out their pitcher Pastora, or if Pastora could find a strikeout, that would help as well. Anything that gets an out and limits the amount of runs that are coming home is huge right now for Evansville. Pastora now pitching back out of the windup. Pitch on the way home. Gets past Phillips. Runners coming home. The play at the plate, not in time. A run will score on the pass ball. And just like that, everyone will advance 90 feet. And the first run has scored for Joliet in pass ball fashion. Steve Pastora searching for something that can help get him out of this inning. Double play has now been taken away. That could prove to be huge. Just like Pastora starts at Lake Erie last weekend, he's kind of taking the place of Ryan O'Reilly for right now. So Ryan O'Reilly is likely the first arm available to hop into this game in case he's needed, just as a help. 1 ball, no strikes. The count to Luke Mangieri. Pitch is on the way towards him. Called strike on the outside edge. Good work from Pastora to bring the heat and bring it close. So the count evened up at a ball and a strike. No outs and runners on second and third. Pastora looking to extend the strikes, or extend his count out. Instead, he falls behind once again. 2-1 the count. Post-game fireworks here from Bosse Field tonight. Part of the reason that a lot of people have packed themselves in here. Final Otters game before the 4th of July. A swinging strike 2 evens the count at 2-2. Because the Otters are on the road all weekend long, they won't return back to Bosse Field until July 5th. So quite possibly a lot of people just trying to get out for the holiday weekend a night early. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Luke Mangieri. This is an out Steve Pastora absolutely needs to get. Lane Barrymore, Justin Gomez are the next 2 due up for Joliet. 2-2 falls out of the zone, and the count is now full for Luke Mangieri. Lane Barrymore probably didn't think he was going to be a big part of this series, but then in his first at-bat, the team's leading hitter for Joliet, Briley Ware, took a pitch off the back of the helmet. We have not seen him since. Man, our thoughts are with him. That is a scary ball to take. Luckily, he was able to walk off under his own power, but wouldn't be surprised if concussion symptoms had him, or concussion protocol even, has him on the bench for a little while. Secret weapon trying to bring some life into Bosse Field and Steve Pastora. As he sends home the payoff pitch and gets a German American Bank swinging strikeout there, his 3rd of the day. That's an important one. I'll bring up Lane Barrymore, who in last night's game was 1 for 4 with a double all the way there in the 9th inning. Didn't really matter for anything, though, as they left him stranded out there. Barrymore, the right-handed batter, steps in, ready for his first offering of this at-bat. First pitch he sees, he fouls back into the netting. Falls back in the count early. Pastora taking a little more time than usual to get himself reset. Still looking in for a sign. Finally has one he likes. 0-1 the count. Pitch on the way home. Way inside. Just about caught Barrymore. He cringed a bit afterwards at the throw, but they did not call it as a hit by pitch. He works his way back into the box. Ahead in the count. 1-1, bounce right back up the middle. Pastora will play it, look the runner back to third. The throw to first is in time. That is the best possible scenario right there. No run scores, and he's able to snag the easy out. That'll bring up the catcher, Justin Gomez, the 9-hole hitter for these Joliet Slammers. Did not play last night, but he did play in Tuesday night's series opener. He was 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Pastora kicks and delivers towards Gomes, and it's outside for ball 1 to start off the counts. Gomez resets himself at the plate. The 1-0 bounces in. Good stop from Phillips to keep it in front of him. Runners on second and third with 2 outs. Pastora, one quick out from getting himself out of this really tough situation he found himself in early. The Otters could get out of this second inning only giving up 1 run. It would be a huge win. Pastora still waiting on the bump. Now he nods. The 2-0 lifted high towards left field. Bierman will settle underneath it and bring it in for out number 3. Just 1 run scores for the Slammers. A huge gift to Steve Pastora. We head to the bottom half of the second inning. Otters trail by 1 here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Into the bottom of the second inning here. Otters were 3 up, 3 down in the first, so they'll bring up Sinsley, Davis, and Phillips to face Cam Ofterhide. Tell you what, this is where Ofterhide proves himself a little bit more. They give him a lead in the second inning, and he works well with one of those. When he gives up runs, a lot of the time they're because of a little error here or there. Under 3 point, or a ERA that's just under 3. That tells you a lot about the kind of game that he throws. He's 4-2 officially on the year this year in his 8 starts. Over 50 innings of work already. Steven Sinsley will be the man to kick things off for the Otters. 303 average so far this season. Started to find a ton of consistency when it came to power at the plate. Picking up lots of home runs, some solid doubles. So he finally makes his way to the plate for his first opportunity in this ball game. Sinsley a lefty, Phillips a lefty later in this inning, but then that bottom 3 of the Otters order, all right-handed hitters. First pitch to Sinsley, a swinging strike 1 on a pitch he was just a little bit antsy on. Swung through a little quick on. Sun is starting to set here at Bossy Field, and tell you what, the right fielder out there, Holzwasser, is trying to protect his eyes out there in right field. It looks like he's struggling a little bit more than the right fielders here typically do. Sinsley's down 0-2 in the count. Big opportunity here. The first baseman, Sinsley. Swinging strike 3, and it only takes 3 pitches to sit down Steven Sinsley to start off this second inning. It's the 3rd strikeout for Cam Ofterhide on the game. That'll bring up the second baseman, J.R. Davis. Davis batting .298 on his season. A lot of extra base hits for him. 10 doubles, 2 triples, 5 home runs, 25 RBIs. The Otters are led by Zach Bierman when it comes to the RBI category. He's got 30 of them. But Sinsley, Davis, and Baez are all tied for second with 25. Tell you what, the offense is spread around nicely here. As Davis starts with a called strike. The 0-1 stays a tad bit high. The count evens up at 1 ball, 1 strike for the second baseman, J.R. Davis. In last night's game, Davis was 3 for 4 with 3 singles. His only out is because he was trying to bunt one of his teammates over and just got a little too far underneath it and ended up bunt popping out. It's a 2-1 towards Davis. High and inside, he just spins out of the way of it. And the count's 3-1 now. This is where Davis needs to be selective with his pitches, earn himself a free base. 3-1. Catches the outside edge. Davis had started to walk towards first, but he's informed by the home plate umpire, Mike O'Leary, that he's going to stick around there for a little longer. The 3-2, way high and inside, almost caught Davis above the shoulders. He's going to earn himself a walk on that pitch. That's an important base runner for the Otters, their first one of the game, and it's a guy with some speed in Davis. If Phillips hits something hard, you never know if Davis can round all the way home. Speaking of Phillips, the catcher Dakota Phillips at the plate now. Last night, Phillips had a single in the 4th inning, but was 0 for 3 in his other 3 attempts. Right now, Dakota Phillips is just looking to limit those strikeout numbers more than anything. He's had a lot of pitchers who have recognized the power and consistency he brings, and because of that, they make life really hard for him at the plate. One-0 count to Dakota Phillips. Pitch is headed his way. Way outside. He's ahead in the count 2-0. We've seen plenty of times in this 3-game set thus far that the Otters have gotten themselves up to a 2-0, 3-0 count lead, and they swing at a pitch that probably isn't the nicest one and end up flying out or grounding out on it. So maybe being a little more selective is what these Otters need. 2-0 on the way. High outside. Phillips way ahead in the count. Joliet and Evansville playing their final game of this 3-game set. It is quite a bit till they meet again. Final week. As the pitch stays high, and it's a 4-pitch walk to Phillips. There's runners on first and second. The next time that these two squads will meet is all the way at August 12th. The two squads will play at Joliet on the 12th, 13th, and 14th of August. They'll conclude their season series here at Bossy on August 23rd, 24th, and 25th. They're one of the few teams in the West Division. The Otters only facing 9 games this season. Big Hit Mac, as they've called him at Mississippi State, now here at Evansville. Headed to the plate now with runners on first and second with just 1 out. McNamee picked himself up an RBI last night. In fact, it was the first game-winning RBI of his season, meaning that his RBI ended up being the game winner. Hadn't found one all season long, but he's been a solid RBI man this year for the Otters. 0-1 the count towards Elijah McNamee. Hefty swing on a pitch that broke low and away from him, and he's down 0-2 in the count. McNamee is a good defensive hitter. We'll have to prove it this time. Davis stands at second. Phillips stands at first. They both reached on back-to-back walks. The 0-2. Right back up the middle. Played by DePrita Johnson to second for 1, to first. In time, and the double play ends the inning. Absolutely the last thing the Otters wanted to see. We've played 2 full innings. Joliet has a lead. Right now, the only difference maker is a pass ball. Going to be another good game here between these 2 squads. 3rd inning coming at you next on the Otters Digital Network and Low Sports. To the top of the 3rd we go, and to the top of the order we go for the Joliet Slammers. Tyler DePrita Johnson, Matt Birch, and Kyle Jacobson set to face Steve Pastora this half inning. Tell you what, Pastora had his defense help him out. He picked up a strikeout, which was first of all big, and then a ground out that bounced back towards him, and then a good play from Bierman out in left field to haul a ball down. Helped get him out of a bases loaded situation, only giving up 1 run, and the run scored on a pass ball. Other than that, it was a very consistent inning for Pastora. This is the inning where he's got to limit his pitch count a little bit more and zoom through a couple of outs. He's facing that top of the order once again, the one that he went 3 up, 3 down against in the top of the 1st. Pastora takes a look around as he gets set on the mound for the first pitch to DePrita Johnson. It's lifted high and foul to the right side. We'll get out of play, however. And it's just a really long strike 1. Phillips behind the plate for the first time in this 3-game set. We've seen Justin Felix the last couple nights. The 0-1. Right down the middle, called strike 2. No balls, 2 strikes to Tyler DePrita Johnson. Sent home by Pastora, stays a bit high for ball 1. Defense is playing a bit stretched out towards the outsides, trying to limit the extra base hits. The 1-2 bounces in. Good stop from Phillips. Keeps it in front of him. Count evens up at 2 balls, 2 strikes. on the season for Phillips. He's gone 90 and 1/3 innings, giving up 24 earned runs between him and his pitcher for a catcher ERA of 2.39. Two the count to the Britta Johnson. Lifted foul to the right side, will get out of play. And will roll back onto the field of play. Counts evened up at 2-2 still. Pastora taking his time, looking for the sign. Has it, kicks and delivers. 2-2. Oh, just misses on the high edge. That is a really competitive pitch that started towards the outside and then broke back in. Didn't miss by a ton. I'll try again, this time on the full count. Swinging strike 3. And make it 4 German American Bank strikeouts for Steve Pastora. Really starting to get himself in a groove in this game up there on the bump. That will bring up Matt Birch, playing second base this evening. He popped out to shallow left center field his first time up. Pastora kicks and delivers. First pitch home. This one's popped up towards the left side. Pastora chases after it, but it will get well out of play. It's a pitcher that really just wanted to grab himself an out, was willing to run it down to try to help himself out. In a lot of ballparks, that's not even a conversation on if that ball's in play. Here, it's at least close, but not close enough. So the count's at 0-1 for Matt Birch. Pitch is on the way towards him. Just misses to the outside edge. Michael Leary shakes his head as it comes in. Phillips tried to frame it back in, but was unsuccessful. Nobody on and 1 out. 1-1 the count to Birch. Drops in for ball 2. And outside of Torrelas, who's playing about halfway on the left side at third base, the other 3 infielders are playing at the back edge of the dirt, just trying to make sure they grab that out. Pastora waits for his sign, has what he wants, and sends home the 2-1. Swinging strike 2 on a high fastball. One that wasn't near the zone for Birch. This is a situation where it'd be great to see Pastora not even take this to a full count. Just go ahead and grab the strikeout here. Nods his head in agreement with Phillips. The 2-2. Sent foul to the left side, will end up in the bullpen of Joliet. Pastora shuffling his feet up there on the mound a bit. Resetting. Has his sign from Phillips. The 2-2. Zoomed out towards right center field. McNamee chasing back towards the wall. Bounces off the wall, picked up by Miles Gordon. The throw in, not in time before a stand-up double for Matt Birch with 1 out in the third. Tell you what, if that wind was still around from the first couple innings, that might have helped carry that thing out of here.
Center fielder, number 13, Kyle Jacobson.
It's one that's really hard to tell where it's bouncing off because of the bright banners out there in right field. It's hard to know exactly where that pitch hit the wall, how far it went up the wall. It's one of the downsides about playing at a ballpark like this that is so far away from its outfield. First pitch to Kyle Jacobson, who struck out his first time up, is on the way now. Curveball stays a bit too high. for ball one. Just didn't look like Pastora ever got the good bite on that curveball that he tried to throw. Speaking of curveball, if you're watching on Flow Sports, go back and watch some of last night's game. Brett Adcock was absolutely in control of his curveball last night. Great fun to watch. 1-0 to Jacobson, stays inside. He's heading the count 2-0. Pastora already at 50 pitches here in the top of the third. That's been the biggest issue for Evansville, I think, when it comes to starting pitching. This league is just full of hitters who are taking counts 8, 9, 10 pitches a lot of the time. And because of that, pitch counts are working up rather quickly. 2-0 is a called strike one right at the elbows. And I don't think that Jacobson really loved the call. Runner on second is Matt Birch after his one-out double. Pastora ready to send home the 2-1. It's on the way, and it stays just a bit high, trying to aim for that elbow area. In fact, that pitch was rather close to where the last one was. Instead, Pastora falls back in the count 3-1. Big moment for Pastora, trying to keep the deficit at just one here in the top of the third. The 3-1 misses high again, and there's runners on first and second with just one out. That'll bring up the right fielder, Scott Holzwasser. He singled in the second, came around to score on the pass ball. Tell you what, right now he is the man for Joliet, their top hitter outside of Briley Ware. Slight breeze, carrying some wind out towards center, left center field. Pastora glances back at second, sends the first pitch home to Holzwasser for ball one, a bit too high, maybe neck high on that fastball there. That's still a quick pitch there. Would love to see him keep that fastball between 89 and 91 if it means that he can really locate it. The 1-0 bounces in. Good stop from Phillips to keep the runners where they're at. But the count drops to 2-0. Of course, we'll break it down a whole lot more tomorrow as we inch close to pregame and actually go through the pregame show tomorrow night. But should be fun to see the pitching performances for the Otters this weekend. Parker Brahms goes once again tomorrow night. He's coming off back-to-back double-digit strikeout evenings for him. 2-0 the count. This is to the outside edge. They throw down to first, and it's just out of the glove of Sinsley. I'll tell you what, Kyle Jacobson kind of got surprised there, trying to hustle back towards first. The count's at 2-1. Two balls, one strike to Scott Holzwasser. Pastora glance out towards second, fires the pitch home. Lifted high and foul to the right side. Sinsley takes a couple steps towards it, but it gets well fouled out of play. And the count evens up at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Counts evened up at 2-2. There is a double play situation right now. That'd be huge for the Otters to pick up. Pastora glance out towards second. The 2-2 on the way. Just misses low. Count is full. Matt McGarry and Philip Steering due up next for the Slammers if they're needed. Pastora taking a lot more time preparing himself for the 3-2 pitch to Scott Holzwasser. Payoff pitch, zoom to the right field area. McNamee chasing back towards the wall. It's off the middle of the wall. One run's going to score. They're sending a second one home. There will not be a play there. 2 more runs score for Joliet, and they take a 3-0 lead in the top of the third. Big hit from the center or from the right fielder, Scott Holzwasser. Tell you what, he's the one we expected to do it.
Number 8, Matt McGarry.
Not ideal for the man up there on the bump, Steve Pastora. Now he'll have to ask his offense to work their way a little bit back into this one. And with it, a man now pops up for the Otters in the right field bullpen. It's Ryan O'Reilly out there, as expected. So there's a runner on second, just one out. Joliet leads by 3. First pitch to McGarry. Chopped high and foul. It'll end up on the roof of Bossy Field here for strike 1.
Choose the best. Never regret it.
Pastora right back up to the plate. He's looking at an 0-1 count. Holzwasser stands out there at second. Pitch catches the zone at the knees. Really late call from home plate umpire Mike O'Leary. But regardless, it leaves Pastora potentially 1 pitch away from grabbing a strikeout. Again, Ryan O'Reilly starting to throw for the Otters in the right field bullpen. 0-2, works a bit too far inside. And able to leave it alone is McGarry. One ball, 2 strikes to Matt McGarry. Pastora, quick glance to second, fires the pitch home. Works way inside, hits the batter, and again there's runners on first and second. So once again there's runners on first and second with just 1 out.
Designated hitter.
And it looks like Max Peterson's going to go have a chat. Pastora looked really solid through his first 50 pitches, but here in the last few batters, it started to go south for him. The entire infield's going to come in to have a chat and pass around the rosin bag. On the bright side, the double play is in order. On the downside, 2 runs have already scored for Joliet. They've got a chance to add to that. Peterson will walk away, have a quick chat with the catcher Dakota Phillips on his way back. No change needed yet. Long time that the infielders kind of stood up there and talked with Pastora. Finally, we're ready to continue play as Philip Steering heads to the plate. Steering's first time up, he had a single back in the second inning. Advanced to second on a pass ball, but was stranded there. Pitch stays low, gets a tiny bit away from Phillips, but he's able to keep it close. And probably more importantly, keeps it from heading back to the backstop. Runners on first and second for Joliet, who have already taken a 3-0 lead in this ball game here in the top of the third. Just 1 out as Philip Steering looks in at an 0-1 pitch. It's on the way from Steve Pastora. Catches the zone at the knees. Nice curveball there. 77 mile an hour, really slowed down by Pastora. That'll set up a very important 0-2 pitch. Pastora has not been able to retire the last few batters he's had 2 strike approaches on. The throw back to second. Nice throw, but it was on the wrong side of second base for J.R. Davis, so he wasn't able to make a really simple tag. And the runner, Scott Holzwasser, will remain safe, but a good idea there. So all that excitement, and they'll take a second to regroup. Oh, 2 on the way to Philip Steering. A half swing. He's able to check it in time, though, for ball 1. And once again, a little bit of a wait between pitches. Runners on first and second for Joliet with just 1 out. Philip Steering's looking at a 1-2 count, trying to potentially grab an RBI. The 1-2, swinging strike 3. That is a huge German American Bank strikeout from Steve Pastora, his 5th one of the game. Well, of his 8 outs he's gotten thus far, 5 are via the K. The problem is in between some of those, he's given up base hits and walks. Brings up the lefty Luke Mangieri. Mangieri struck out back in the 2nd inning. First pitch towards him, called strike on the inside edge. No balls, 1 strike to Luke Mangieri. Quick pitch on the way. Fouled off to the left side, and once again, Pastora has himself ahead in the count.
Choose the best. Never regret it.
Boy, would this be nice to see. Pastora bounce back and grab a couple outs and keep the Slammers at just 2 runs in the inning. This is a big at-bat for Steve Pastora to close out this inning. Here comes the 0-2. Swinging strike 3. He didn't go around far enough. Or they're saying no, he didn't. Now they say yes, he did. And it's a German American Bank strikeout that ends the inning. The 6th of the game for Steve Pastora. 2-run score for the Slammers on a 2-run double by Scott Holzwasser. Outside of that, though, once again, Pastora is able to get himself out of a bit of a jam. We head to the bottom half of the 3rd. Torrales, Khalil, and Gordon due up for the Otters. To the bottom of the 3rd inning we go. Otters looking for some offense in this one. They've got Anthony Torrales, George Khalil, and Miles Gordon due up. Excited to see what Anthony Torrales can do after a couple of days off for him. Jumped into the professional baseball scene just about a week and a half ago with these Otters. Picked up a hit in his first career game. Game 2, a 2-hit game, including his first career home run I've liked what I've seen in his career thus far. I love the defensive plays he makes over there at third. Every game is just a chance for him to advance his game little by little. He'll kick off this third inning for Evansville. Officially, Torrellas is looking at a .313 average, 5 for 16 thus far. Of his 5 hits, 2 of them are for extra bases. Deep breath from him, and he works his way to the plate now. Turned into a beautiful night here from historic Bosse Field. We're in the high 80s right now. A little bit of a breeze blowing out towards left center field. Makes the flag look nice out there. The kick and delivery from Ofterhide. Works a bit inside for ball 1 on Anthony Torrellas. The 1-0, a half swing. It won't matter. It's a called strike 1 on the inside edge, evening the count of the ball and a strike for Torrellas. George Khalil due up next here in this third inning. He's another one who's really worked on his hitting and has started to find some consistency and swinging the bat really hard. Torrellas chops one out towards center field. Jacobson will chase over and haul it in for the first out of the inning. Went off the side of the bat for Torrellas, so he didn't get a really quality contact there. He'll sit down with a flyout. That'll bring up George Khalil, who did not play last night, but is looking right now at a .256 average. Khalil's been consistent enough that he's finding a hit in just about every game the Otters have played. Khalil, the 6'4", 190-pound shortstop out of Melbourne. First pitch to him is a called strike as Gomez helped a bit with the frame job. So the count's quickly 0-1 for Khalil. Booms one to the right side. Chasing over is Holzwasser towards foul territory. Makes the catch as he runs up the mound in the bullpen over there. That's a hard play to make, but he made that look really simple for out number 2. So that means we head back to the order where the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Miles Gordon, heads to the plate. He flew out to left his first time out, or really it was more of a line out to left. And it does look like Ryan O'Reilly is going to be entering this game in this next half inning. First pitch to Miles Gordon. He shows bunt, pulls away, and it's ball 1. Quickly back in the box is Miles Gordon. The 1-0. He shows bunt again, pulls away again, but this one's a called strike, evening the count of the ball and a strike. Looks like once again we've got a good couple of groups in attendance tonight. Both the picnic decks and right and left field are full, as well as the Corona party deck. A 1-1 is swung on and missed by Miles Gordon. Defense playing rather deep in the infield and also skewed a bit to their right side, as occasionally Gordon will pull that ball to the right side. One ball, 2 strikes. Sent home. Swinging strike 3 for Gordon. And it's another 3 up, 3 down inning for the Otters. And it's strikeout number 4 for Cam Ofterhide after 3 complete innings. It's Joliet 3, Otters still looking for their first run. Frontier League Baseball on Flow Sports is presented by Budweiser, the king of beers, and a call to the bullpen needed for the Otters. Ryan O'Reilly going to get the nod from pitching coach Max Peterson. He came in relief last weekend as well for Steve Pastor, looking to do it again in this one. This call to bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. O'Reilly on the mound, Phillips behind the plate. The pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Call at 812-475-9000. Defense will remain the same around him. We'll jump into the game statistics and let you know the final line score for Steve Pastora in this game. He gives up 3 runs, only 2 of the 3 earned, on 4 hits in 3 complete innings of work. Walks 1, strikes out 6, through 70 pitches in the game. We'll also take some time to look through the Fox Sports WYFX Frontier League scoreboard for the first time as we progress through this inning. Trois-Rivières got a win in that game 1 of their doubleheader against Tri-City. In the 6th inning, Empire State and New York are tied at 0 in the 6th inning in a rubber match of that series. Lane Barrymore, first pitch, it rides inside and catches him in the upper shoulder. He'll head to first with a hit by pitch. Pitch worked high and inside on him in a hurry.
The catcher, number 25, Justin Gomez.
So that'll bring up the catcher, Justin Gomez, who flew out to left field his first time up. Gomez, a big, tall lefty, stands up at 6-0. First pitch home towards it. Stays a bit inside. There goes the runner towards second. The gun by Phillips. The tag. Got him. What a throw from Dakota Phillips to gun down Barrymore on his way to second. I tell you, that's the big strength of Dakota Phillips. His arm is very accurate and his arm is very strong. The Otters have that gift with both of their catchers. Justin Felix can do it just as well. Felix has really started to add up his caught stealing numbers. I believe Felix is at 9 this year, and that's the 7th for Dakota Phillips. The 2-0 for Gomez. Ball catches the outside edge for a called strike 1. As Ryan O'Reilly's looking to get himself in a comfortable position in this game. Pitch finds the zone, evening the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Long wait before the next pitch. 2-2. Zoom towards left field. Dropping back is Bierman and making the catch for out number 2. That one got to Bierman in a hurry out there.
Then to the top of the order for the Joliet Slammers, it's shortstop number 4, Tyler DePrivate Johnson.
So with that, DePrivate Johnson heads to the plate. The leadoff man for the Slammers. He's got 2 strikeouts so far in this game. First pitch on the way. Called strike on the outside edge. Defense playing pretty much straight up and a little bit squished towards the outsides. The 0-2 misses the zone. The count evens up. A little bit more on Ryan O'Reilly so far this year. He's appeared in 8 games, has an official record of 2-2. The ball is lasered towards Khalil at short. He plays it nicely, throws over to first in plenty of time, and it's a 3-up, 3-down inning after the hit by pitch to Barrymore. We head to the bottom half of the fourth inning. Otters still trail by a trio. Another wonderful crowd on attendance this evening for Otters baseball here in Evansville. Great to see this many people come around and support the Otters in a midweek series, nonetheless. We head to the bottom of the fourth inning. Returning out there on the mound, of course, is Cam Ofterhide, who has been very efficient in this game thus far. In fact, he's only faced 10 batters thus far, and he technically has only been obviously required to face the minimum 9. So he's been very good. The only base runners he's given up are a couple of walks in the second inning, but a double play helped him out of that. Leading off this half inning is the left fielder, Zach Bierman. Struck out looking his first time up on a 3-2 pitch. First pitch towards him here. A hefty swing on a low inside pitch that actually catches the catcher, who seems to be in a ton of pain. Quickly running out are the Joliet trainers. Kind of looks like that ball might have got him just under the neck protector. Continue looking through the Fox Sports WIFX Frontier League scoreboard at this point. In the top of the seventh inning, Washington leads Florence 6-2, which means there's just a couple innings away from Washington sweeping the Yalls. Boy, would that be a big 3 games. In the top of the fourth inning, yes, top of the fourth inning, Ottawa leads New Jersey 12-5. Big runs for Ottawa thus far. In the top of the sixth inning, Schaumburg and Lake Erie are tied at 3 runs apiece. In the bottom of the fifth, Quebec leads Sussex County 3-0 on the road at Sussex County. In game 2 of their doubleheader, Tri-City and Trois-Rivières are tied at 1 run apiece in the third. And the final game of the day, Gateway at Windy City. The Grizzlies have a 4-0 lead over Windy City in the bottom of the third inning. Our thanks to Fox Sports WIFX for sponsoring the Frontier League scoreboard here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Next pitch to Bierman's a swinging strike, and he falls down in the count 0-2. Good to see the catcher, Justin Gomez, able to pop back up and be good to go now. No balls, 2 strikes to Zach Bierman. Pitch is on the way. A half swing. He's able to keep himself disciplined. The count goes to 1-2. Long wait on the mound from Ofterhide. Still looking in for his sign. Finally has it. 1-2 stays Hyde outside. Count evens up at 2 balls, 2 strikes. A 2-2. Bierman right through the middle into center field, down for a base hit. And it's the first hit for the Otters They had to wait until the 4th inning to get it. And for Zach Bierman, that's hits in 6 straight games for him now.
Designated hitter number 33, Jeffrey Baez.
Brings up the hard-hitting left fielder Jeffrey Baez, who's the DH this evening. Baez has a little breeze helping him out towards left center field. Watch out if he gets a hold of one. First pitch to Baez. Low and away for ball 1. Bierman's got some decent wheels down there at first. Not enough that you'd expect him to steal, but certainly if a ball got away from the catcher Gomez, he might try to snag an extra base. The 1-0 towards Baez. Hefty swing, but he was a bit in front of it. Count evens up at a ball and a strike. Defense playing straight up in double play positions for Joliet. Here comes the 1-1. Baez able to just foul it back towards the netting, but he falls back in the count 1-2. Tell you what, you can look both ways here at Bosse Field, and there is consistent fan coverage all the way to the end of both seating areas, all the way to the edges. Another beautiful crowd here at Bosse Field. Glad you're joining us for Otters baseball on a thirsty Thursday as we hang out with our friends from Jacobs Village. One ball and 2 strikes to Jeffrey Baez here with no outs and a runner on first. The 1-2. Baez strikes out, swinging on a pitch low and inside for the first out of the inning. And strikeout number 5 on the day for Cam Ofterheim. With that, the first baseman, Steven Sinsley, heads to the plate. Struck out swinging his first time up. That strikeout led off the second inning. First pitch of the at-bat. Catches the outside edge for a called strike 1. Now Sinsley just needs to settle in and pick his pitches. Bierman with the small lead over at first. Sinsley waiting on the 0-1. Ooh, cranked hard on that swing, but was just a bit ahead of the pitch, and because of it, just dribbled the ball to the left side. Don't forget that the Otters are out of town for the holiday weekend. All 4 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, they play at Gateway, just a couple hours to our west. Otters would love it if you came over and supported them there in Sauget, Illinois. But I will say this much, if you want to go, make sure you hop on and grab tickets quickly. It does sound like Gateway is expecting some pretty good crowds over the weekend. I also believe that there are fireworks every single night at Gateway. We'd love to see some Otter faithful out there. The 1-2 works inside. Did it hit Sinsley? It did. And he will make his way to first via the free pass the hard way. And there's runners on first and second with just 1 out. A reminder that all 4 of those games this weekend at Gateway start at 6:45 p.m. Central Time.
Second baseman number 2,
which means we'll have the pregame show for you here on the Otters Digital Network sometime between 6:30 and 6:40 each of those nights, just depending on how their pregame festivities are set up at Gateway this weekend. Just keep an eye on the Otters Digital Network. That's where you'll be able to find all the games all weekend long. Otters back in town next Tuesday night, though, so have no fear. They're coming home to Bosse very shortly. First pitch to J.R. Davis in the at-bat. Ooh, hefty swing, but he just fouls it back into the catcher, Gomez. Davis got a walk his first time up. Managed to get to second, but was stranded out there. DuBois County Bombers and Henderson Flash are playing tomorrow here in a summer collegiate style baseball game. Should be fun to see some summer collegiate baseball here inside Bosse as a pitch is foul to the right side.
Choose the best, never regret it.
0-2 count for J.R. Davis. There's runners on first and second, just one out. This is a big opportunity for J.R. Davis. Pitch headed towards him. Bounces one to the left side. Finally played by the third baseman. The throw, there wasn't a throw, and the tag did not touch Bierman. Oh, my. McGarry can't believe it. I'm sorry I didn't give a better explanation. It was hard to understand what was going on. The ball's bounced towards McGarry at third. He tries to tag Bierman, who jumps out of the way, hustles over to third. They say he's safe. No throw happens on the way to first, and the bases are now loaded with one out. And the third baseman, McGarry, cannot believe it. So a half-second miscue there for the third baseman ends up with no outs. They could have at least got one if he threw over to first anyway. Instead, the bases are loaded with one out, and Dakota Phillips heading to the plate. Phillips' first pitch. Way outside for ball one. Bierman stands on third, Sinsley at second, Davis at first. Dakota Phillips, who has a walk so far in this game, trying to do something that brings one or more home. The 1-0 pitch. Sent foul to the left side, will get high and out of play. Defense is playing in double play positioning. Although at this point, they'll probably just want any out they can get. Time is called at the plate by Dakota Phillips. And everyone will step out for a second. Defense is playing for Dakota Phillips to pull the ball to the right side a little bit. Now the infield is doing the same. Pitch on the way, and it's a swinging strike two for Dakota Phillips. Hefty swing there. Sinsley taking a second to stretch out there at second base, just in case he's needed to run hard at one. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Dakota Phillips. Big RBI chance for him. Pitch stays high, and the count evens up at 2-2. Good to see Phillips not try to force an RBI there. Instead, he stays patient, allows the ball to stay high, and gives himself another chance. The 2-2 stays high yet again, and the count is full for Dakota Phillips. Ofterhide has to be careful he doesn't walk a run in. Full count payoff pitch from Cam Ofterhide to Dakota Phillips with the bases loaded and just one out. Phillips sends it out towards deep left. Barrymore getting underneath it, brings it in for one out. There goes Bierman towards home. He's safe. It's a sac fly RBI from Dakota Phillips, and he'll be praised when he gets back to the dugout. Just like that, the Otters are on the board. Bierman scores. Sinsley stays put at second. Davis, of course, stays put at first. And the right fielder, Elijah McNamee, heads to the plate with 2 on, 2 outs. The Otters down by a pair. McNamee rocking the full shade of eye black this evening. Waiting patiently at the plate for his first offering. Ofterheide sends it his way. Stays a bit outside for ball one. Slammers have put together some really good baseball here in the last month. Held really firm at that third spot in the West Division until their loss last night when they swapped places with Gateway and are now the fourth team in this West Division. The 1-0 to McNamee. Sent back into the netting. Count evens up. Crazy to think that we are under 3 weeks away from the Frontier League All-Star game. Quickly approaching that halfway point of the season. 1-1 on the way to McNamee. Right back up the middle. Long run for DeBritta Johnson. Gets out of his glove. Bases are loaded, and on come the Sprinklers.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please welcome Brian Smitty to go to the Democrat State of the Other Concourse.
A
Brian Smitty to the
tough
Democrat
play there
State
for the shortstop anyway, and now everyone will take a break as the Sprinklers are needed to be taken off.
Thank you.
Well, the Otters are looking to
And while we have this
give themselves a couple of extra runs in this opportunity. I mentioned that we were just under 3 weeks away from the All-Star game. Stars of the Frontier League are all converging on Washington, Pennsylvania in just 20 days now for that 2022 Frontier League All-Star game presented by the Curry firm. Wednesday, July 20th. Catch the best of the Frontier League and be a part of the All-Star Week festivities by going to WashingtonWildThings.com for more information and to purchase tickets. I'm pretty sure the game will be carried across Flow Sports. And while the Sprinklers are going on, attention is being brought to the shortstop of Joliet, DeBritta Johnson, who just slid after that last ball. The head man for Joliet, Dan Sherlith, as well as their trainer, have made their way out there. Samantha Desharnais also out there making sure everything's good to go with their shortstop, Tyler DeBritta Johnson. Look at that, the Corona patio deck. Full of a bunch of Otter fans out there. That could be you, by the way, next week. 6-game homestand here at Bosse Field. If you want to book your group out here at the Corona patio deck or either of our picnic decks on the right and left field concourses, you can give our front office a call at 812-435-8686. Great place to watch a game. There's unlimited food and bottled beverages when it comes to soft drinks and water. Great place to watch a game out there. Sprinklers are off. Bases are loaded. Anthony Torrelas is headed to the plate and a big RBI opportunity. Sinsley at third. Davis at second. Elijah McNamee at first after his infield single. That infield single by McNamee extends his on-base streak to 33 games. First pitch to Torrelas. Low and away, ball one. Torrelas on the season has just one RBI. It came on his first base hit. The 1-0 towards Anthony. On the way now. A hefty swing, and he's just a bit to the side of it as his count evens up at 1-1. Sun is no longer an issue here from Evansville as the stadium lights will start to do their job. The 1-1 to Torrelas. Off speed, stays just a tad bit high Oh boy, that's a close pitch. Ofterhide is one of many pitchers in this Frontier League with 4 wins. There's only 5 pitchers in the Frontier League with more of them. Sit right back up the middle, through for a base hit. 1 run's going to score. Here comes a second run. Play at the plate. No, there won't be. 2 RBIs on a single from Anthony Torrelas. This game is tied. I tell you what, Anthony Torrelas looks like a professional baseball player with the way he can pick up these clutch hits. He's fresh out of college. This is his first opportunity in professional baseball. He is taking advantage of it. 2 runs score. The game's tied at 3, and George Khalil heads to the plate. McNamee now stands out at second. Torrelas, of course, at first. George is looking for some payback after fouling out his first time up. Lasered into left field, but right at the left fielder Barrymore. The inning ends, but not before a 2-run single from Anthony Torrelas evens the game at 3 runs apiece. Tell you what, 3 nights in a row, we've got a great ball game on our hands between Joliet and Evansville. Don't go anywhere. 4th inning coming at you next. We head to the top of the 5th inning. Ryan O'Reilly returns to the mound for the Otters. He was able to pop in, and after hitting the first batter he faced, got helped out with a caught stealing and then retired the next 2 in order to sit down the 3 for the Slammers. He'll face Birch, Jacobson, and Holzwasser here in this next half inning. Got a couple updates from you, or from the Fox Sports WIFX Frontier League scoreboard. The Boulders of New York have scored 3 runs in the 6th and now have a 3-0 lead over the Empire State Grays at the top of the 7th. Washington closing in on that series sweep, up 7-2 against Florence in the 8th inning. Ottawa has extended their lead further. They're up 12-6 in the 5th against New Jersey. First offering to Matt Birch on the way from Ryan O'Reilly. Just misses to the outside edge for ball 1. Defense is set up straight up with both Sinsley and Torrelas holding tight to the corners. The 1-0. Skied high to the left side. Torrelas chasing after it in foul territory towards the wall, and he'll run out of space.
The red ball is brought to you by Construction. Choose the best. Never.
So it's just a really long strike 1, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike. Ryan O'Reilly takes some time to walk around the mound and now has stepped back up. 1-1 count to Matt Birch. Pitch is on the way, and it's swung on and missed for strike 2. It was fouled back into the chest protector of Felix, but he still had the count 1-2. O'Reilly already ready up there on the bump. Pitching out of the windup once again. Nods at the count. Set up outside as Phillips. Pitch goes outside, and it's far enough out for ball 2 as Birch didn't even blink at it. Defense remains playing pretty much straight up. 2-2 the count to Matt Birch. O'Reilly kicks and sends it home. It's lifted up towards center field. Gordon will work a couple of feet to his right side and then in a few feet and haul it in for out number 1. With that, the center fielder Kyle Jacobson makes his way to the plate. 0 for 1 with a strikeout and a walk so far in the game for Jacobson.
Center fielder, number 13, Kyle Jacobson.
Jacobson on the year had just 8 walks all year. Was able to add to it, of course, that last half inning. His 35 strikeouts are the 4th most on the team. First pitch is across for a called strike 1 to him. Otters have combined for 6 strikeouts. They were all thrown by Steve Pastora. O'Reilly's still looking for his first one. The 0-1 stays a bit high. Count evens up at a ball and a strike. Due up after Jacobson would be Scott Holzwasser. He had the 2-run double back in the 3rd. The 1-1. Zoom to the left side. Torrellas misplays it for a second, picks it up. The throw is going to be late, however, and the run will score. And the man will reach first on an error on Torrellas. Hard hit ball towards him, but he just couldn't keep it composed in front of him. So Scott Holzwasser heads to the plate with 1 out, 1 on. 2 hits for him so far in the game. A single in the 2nd that he would come around to score on later, and then a 2-run double in the 3rd that gave their lead a couple of run cushion before the Otters came back and tied it in the 4th. First pitch to Holzwasser. Stays low for ball 1. One ball, no strikes. The 1-0. There goes the runner. The throw out to second. Nice throw in time. Yes, it is. And Dakota Phillips has gunned down another one on his way to second. I tell you what, Phillips has really got the cannon going tonight. Throwing out 2 different runners now on their way to second. Count is evened up at 1-1 for Scott Holzwasser, now with 2 outs and no one on. Pitch stays low, and the count's at 2-1. The Bossy Field crowd trying to get behind their pitcher, Ryan O'Reilly, as the 2-1 heads home. Holzwasser leaves it alone for a called strike 2, which evens the count up. O'Reilly looking to close out this top of the 5th inning. On the way outside, bounces off of Phillips, will drain its way towards the outside of the Otters dugout. Counts it full. Defense remains playing pretty much straight up for Scott Holzwasser. O'Reilly's going to try again to close out this top half of the 5th. The 3-2 stays outside, and the runner will make his way to first with a walk. Holzwasser has reached base every time now.
Third baseman, number 8, Matt McGarry.
That'll bring up the third baseman, Matt McGarry, who has reached base both times on free passes, one a walk, one a hit by pitch, but he's been stranded out there on base both times. Matt McGarry ready in the box. And it's sent that way by Ryan O'Reilly. Stays high, ball one. Very big group of our friends from Jacobs Village have joined us here at the ballpark tonight. They help sing the Star Spangled Banner as well, and just enjoying a night here at Bosse Field. The throw over to first is a bit late and also a little bit difficult for Sinsley to keep in front of him, but he does, and the runner stays put at first. 1-0 remains the count to McGarry. The Otters players and coaches hosted Jacobs Village last week to come play baseball out here on the field. It was a great time. The individuals from Jacobs Village had a great time. Our players and coaches had a ton of fun interacting with them as well. Just spreading the love of the game we all love. Count extends out to 2-0 for Matt McGarry. He's got a runner on first and 2 outs in front of him. Again, they throw over to first. That's a better throw, but not in time to snag Holzwasser. 2 balls, no strikes to Matt McGarry. This could be a big at-bat for him to extend this inning for Joliet. 2-0 works high inside, gets away from Phillips, but the runner, Scott Holzwasser, will not challenge the arm of Phillips. Which, in the grand scheme of things, is probably smart. Phillips has had a couple of really solid throws already this evening. One of them was a late throw, but he still got the man on his way. Counts all the way out to 3-0 to Matt McGarry. O'Reilly's got to find the zone. Pitch catches right at the elbows. And naturally, the count goes to 3-1. Otters are trying to end this quick 3-game homestand with a sweep. The 3-1 misses just a tad bit high, pretty close to where the last pitch was. And there's runners on first and second with 2 outs in the fifth. That'll bring up the designated hitter, Philip Steering, as Max Peterson will go have a chat with his pitcher, Ryan O'Reilly. Could just be a, hey, let's figure this out, grab this last out. Very short conversation by Max Peterson. In comparison to a lot of the other discussions Max Peterson has with his pitchers up there, that one very short. Right away, O'Reilly goes and gets himself set up on the mound. At the plate, Philip Steering, ready to go on a first pitch with 2 outs and runners on first and second. The inaugural pitch of the at-bat on the way. Catches the inside edge. Steering doesn't like the call. He states his quick opinions to home plate umpire Mike O'Leary, who nods. And we continue with an 0-1 count. Long wait for O'Reilly. Here comes the 0-1. Bounces in, count heads to full. Good work from Phillips to keep that ball in front of him. Again, lots of time taken between individual pitches. Otters are playing straight up and rather deep in the infield, just trying to grab this final out. The 1-1 stays low. Always a good night at the ballpark when the Evansville Otters owner, Bill Bussing, is walking around talking to fans, showing them around. And I believe we also have team president John Stanley in attendance, walking around and socializing with fans as well. Always a great night. We have both of them at the ballpark. 2-1 is the count to Philip Steering. Takes a called strike 2 on the inside edge. O'Reilly attacks with the fastball low and inside. Grabs himself a strike. That's a nice pitch. O'Reilly's ready on the bump. Now Steering finally heads into the plate. Gets his feet set. Sign on its way to Ryan O'Reilly. He nods in agreement. Here comes the 2-2. Works high and inside, counts full. O'Reilly looking at over 30 pitches in his 2 innings of work thus far. O'Reilly nods, ready for the 3-2. Ball is lifted towards center. Gordon dropping back towards the warning track, and on the warning track brings it in for out number 3. The game will remain tied at 3 runs apiece as we head to the bottom half of the 5th. What a game we've got here from Bosse Field. Don't go anywhere. No surprises as we head to the bottom of the 5th, and Cam Ofterhide returns to the mound for Joliet. He's been very solid in this game, outside of a bit of a tough 4th. Announced attendance here is 4,757. Just a few more than we had here last night. Another big thank you from the Evansville Otters to all of you who take time out of your week to come spend it with us at Bosse. Great to have so many of you out here. Otters will kick off their 5th inning with the top of the order and Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Miles Gordon. Gordon on the day is 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a lineout. First pitch home. Swinging strike 1 by Gordon. Falls down in the count early. Gordon has the defense playing with a bit of a right shift on him. The 0-1 comes home to him. He lifts one foul to the left side. Chasing after is the third baseman, Gary, but it'll get too far away from him. And the count just falls to 0-2 on the play. So the defense will take their time getting back to their spots, and because of it, Miles Gordon will take an extra second before he gets back in the box. Gordon waiting on the 0-2. Pitch on the way, and it's a second straight strikeout for Miles Gordon, both of them swinging. It's the 6th one of the day for Cam Ofterhide. That'll bring up left fielder Zach Bierman.
Left fielder, number 25, Zach Bierman.
Bierman is 1 for 2 with a single in the 4th, a strikeout in the 1st. After his single in the 4th, though, he did come around to score on Dakota Phillips' sacrifice fly RBI. First pitch is a swinging strike, 1 by Bierman, quickly down 0-1 in the count. The 0-1 works way outside. Count evens up. This is where we see the defense now is shifting a little bit further to the right side, expecting Bierman to pull that ball to that right side. The center fielder, in fact, is playing probably 20 feet to his left. Hefty swinging strike 2 as Bierman down in the count. Jeffrey Baez, the next one due up for the Otters. And then if need be, Steven Sinsley is in the hole. The 1-2. Tipped foul by Zach Bierman, just enough to keep himself alive in the count. Good to see we have so many of you joining us on the Otters Digital Network. Please, you're listening to our audio-only version there. Also to all of you on Flow Sports. Ball is chopped foul to the right side. A play at first will be in time to retire Bierman on the ground out to the first baseman. Tough play, but good work from the pitcher Ofterhide to work his way over to first in time to slam his foot down on the bag for out number 2. So with 2 down and no one on, the DH Jeffrey Baez heads to the plate. 2 strikeouts for him thus far. Really needs something to break up in his day. Defense returns to pretty much straight up positions for him. Here comes the first pitch. Hefty swing from Baez. He's a little bit ahead of it for strike 1. Defense remains pretty much straight up on him as the 0-1 pitch heads home towards. Sends one to the right side. Gets past the second baseman, and it's a base hit for Jeffrey Baez. Just kind of pushed that one past the second baseman. Didn't take too much, but it did enough. And with 2 outs, the Otters have a base runner with the hard-hitting first baseman Steven Sinsley heading to the plate now. Sinsley's 0 for 1 with a strikeout and a hit by pitch. After his hit by pitch, though, he came home to score on Anthony Torrellas' 2-run single. Sinsley is dug in and ready for his first pitch of this at-bat. Defense playing pretty much straight up for him. Baez with a big lead at first. Sinsley takes a pitch on the inside edge for a called strike, or for a ball 1 in there. Home plate umpire Mike O'Leary made a subtle movement to his right side, but not enough for anything to really take place. 2 outs, runner on first. Game is tied at 3 runs apiece. Sinsley waiting on the 1-0. There goes Baez. The throw out to second. Is it in time? No! Jeffrey Baez grabs a stolen base. Make it 7 stolen bases for the big man this year. And out comes the manager of Joliet. Dan Sherlith will come out and have a talk with the umpire on the left side, Marvin King. But nothing will likely come of the discussion there. Otters now have a man in scoring position with one of their hottest hitters at the plate. Discussion is over out there on the left side of the infield. Baez is going to remain safe out there at second. 2-0 count to Steven Sinsley. There's 2 outs and a runner at second. Huge RBI chance for the Otters to get themselves a lead. Sinsley is dug in. Long wait on the mound from Ofterhide. The 2-0. Swinging strike one. Oh boy, Sinsley loaded up on that swing, but was empty-handed at the end of it. As we work through here, we'll go through a couple more of these Fox Sports WYFX Frontier League scoreboard scores. Quebec's jumped up to a 4-1 lead at Sussex County. That'd be a big win for the Capitals to kind of get things back on the right thing. Big win for Schaumburg if they can hold on to a 4-3 lead at Lake Erie. Lace to the right side. Great play by the second baseman, Birch. The overthrow. There goes Baez home. A run's going to score for the Otters, and they've got a lead. Costly error from the second baseman, Birch, after a wonderful play for him. And the Otters have the lead. I imagine it'll be credited as an error to the second baseman, which will let the run score. Regardless, J.R. Davis is headed to the plate now. The second baseman, Davis, with another RBI chance. And they're going to go have a check on the first baseman, Mangieri, out there. So, tough night for the Slammers as once again the trainer has to go have a look out there. It's Samantha Desharnais having to make her third appearance in the last 2 innings. Looks like they're looking at the left knee of Mangieri. Let's walk you through how we got to this point here in the 5th inning. Miles Gordon led off with a strikeout, the 6th of the game for Ofterhide. Then Bierman grounded out. With 2 outs, Jeffrey Baez earned himself a base hit, got himself to first, stole second, but now on an error on the second baseman, Steven Sinsley made his way all the way to second. Baez made his way all the way home, and the Otters have a 4-3 lead on a costly error from the Slammers. Still waiting to get started, and now J.R. Davis is making his way to the box. Davis could add an RBI to his season totals with something solid here. Davis had an RBI in last night's game. And now the pitcher Ofterhide will request a quick discussion between him and his catcher just to rejuvenate signs, get back on the same page. For those wondering, Sinsley does get an RBI on that play. Sinsley has been picking those up in bunches, as the second most on the team. Looks like we're ready to go, and finally ready for J.R. Davis's first pitch of this at-bat. Otters have taken their time offensively in these last couple innings to grab some runs. First pitch to Davis, taken for strike one on the outside edge. Again, we're in the bottom of the 5th inning. Otters have their first lead of the game, 4-3, after an error on the second baseman, Matt Birch. The 1-2 to J.R. Davis. Taken outside. In Davis's appearances thus far in the game, he walked in the second, reached on a fielder's choice in the 4th. He came around to score on Anthony Torrellas' 2-run single. So Davis trying to make it on base for the 3rd time this evening. The 1-1 is headed his way. He takes it high inside, not the first time he's taken a pitch up in there. And he is up in the count 2-1 now. Cam Ofterhide really starting to slow down between some of his pitches. The 2-1 misses low and outside. And it's a 3-1 advantage to J.R. Davis. So on a play that the Slammers thought they had gotten themselves out of the inning, they ended up giving the go-ahead run to the Otters and letting the inning extend. Absolutely not what the Slammers wanted. 3-1 pitch to J.R. Davis. High outside, he's headed to first with a walk. His second walk of the day, has runners on first and second with 2 outs. That'll bring up the catcher, Dakota Phillips. Walked in the second, earned himself a sac fly RBI back in the fourth. 2 outs, runners on first and second. This is a huge chance for Dakota Phillips to stand up and say, I'm the right man for the job right here. Sinsley stands with the leadoff second. Davis with the leadoff first. Pitch headed towards Phillips. Hefty swing. He was a little bit ahead of it, though, for strike 1. Post-game fireworks are following tonight's game as the Otters conclude this quick 3-game homestand. They'll head to Gateway for a 4-game set, the only one of those they have all season long. They play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday night before coming right back here to Bosse for a Tuesday through Sunday homestand next week. 0-1, zoomed into right field. Down for a base hit. They're going to hold Sinsley at third. Good thing they did. That is a rocket throw from Holzwasser in right. But the bases are loaded now after a single from Phillips. Sinsley at third, Davis at second, Phillips at first. Big hit Mack making his way to the plate. The right fielder is 1 for 2 with a single and a double play so far in the game. Boy, would this be a good couple RBIs for Elijah McNamee. Cam Ofterhide has himself ready up on the bump. Glances around towards second. Here comes the first pitch to McNamee. Zoomed out towards center field. Jacobson thinks he's underneath it. And he is. Otters score a run and take the lead in the bottom half of the 5th. We head to the 6th inning. Otters lead by a run. To the top of the sixth we go. And I want to remind you that Frontier League Baseball right here on Flow Sports is presented by Old National Bank, your bank for Evansville, your bank for life. Ryan O'Reilly returns to the mound for the Otters. He will face at least Luke Mangieri, Lane Barrymore, and Justin Gomez. Keep an eye on Luke Mangieri in this at-bat. He was favoring his left knee after the tough play there at first in that last half inning. First pitch from O'Reilly. Works high and outside for ball one. Otters don't have anyone warming up right now, but they've had a couple of guys that have just been doing their regular stretches, so they would be available if they're needed. The 1-0, lifted foul to the left side. Torrelas chasing after it, underneath it, and brings it in. A tough out for the first one of the inning.
I would also like to welcome our family here at the ballpark tonight.
That'll bring up the left fielder, Lane Barrymore, who is 0 for 1. A ground outs and a hit by pitch. After being hit by a pitch in the fourth, he tried to steal second. Dakota Phillips did not allow it, however. He was caught stealing on his way to second. O'Reilly kicks and delivers the first pitch to Barrymore. Called strike one on the inside edge, and Barrymore smiles and looks back towards the home plate umpire, Mike O'Leary. He wasn't a huge fan of that one. Ofterhide is 6'3", 200 pounds out of Rancho Santa Margarita, California. He has been really good in this game for Joliet. They have a pitcher warming up out there in left field. Wouldn't be surprised if we see Ofterhide try to get another inning, though. Lane Barrymore looking at an 0-2 count after Ryan O'Reilly gets another called strike. The 0-2 to Barrymore. Swinging strike three on a pitch that broke low and away. And it is the first German American Bank strikeout of the game for Ryan O'Reilly.
Catcher, number 25, Justin Gomez.
That will bring up the catcher, Justin Gomez, 0 for 2 with a flyout and a lineout, both to the left fielder, Zach Bierman. O'Reilly readies, fires home. Zoom to the right field side, down for a base hit. McNamee is able to pick it up and limit it to just one base. It's a 2-out single for the catcher, Justin Gomez. Back to the top of the order we go for Joliet as Tyler DePreta Johnson heads to the plate. 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts and a ground out in the game. DePreta Johnson is just looking for some form of consistency. DePreta Johnson still without a hit in this series. Way ahead of a pitch and sends it foul to the left side.
Julia, not Olivia. Julia is the prettiest sister on the planet. They still have a good plan, so thank you.
The runner on first is Justin Gomez. He's had a small lead and maintains a pretty small lead over there at first. The 0-1 falls in for a called strike two. That one just above the knees on the off speed. Looked like a curveball, but it broke like a slider. Quickly an 0-2 count for Tyler DePreta Johnson. Boy, would this be a big way for O'Reilly to end this inning. The 0-2. Zoom towards Khalil at short. He picks it up on one hop to second for the one they need. And that ends the top of the sixth. Quick inning after the single with 2 outs. We head to the bottom half of the sixth. Otters still lead by 1 on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. A pitching change needed here for Joliet as we head to the bottom half of the sixth inning. Alec Thomas will come in out of the bullpen. 6'1", 195, former Southern Illinois minor. This call of the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. It's Thomas on the mound. Gomez behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Let them know that Anthony Torrelas sent you their way. Torrelas, Khalil, and Gordon due up for the Otters in this back half of the sixth inning. Torrelas had the two-run single back in the fourth that at the time tied the game at 3. They'll have one final meeting between Thomas and Gomez up on the mound, or we get set for this bottom half of the sixth. Otters just need some insurance. Looks like we're ready to go. Making his way to the plate now is Anthony Torrelas. Torrelas, like I mentioned, 1 for 2 in the game, a two-run single in the fourth that gave the Otters a tie game at 3. Of course, now they've got the one-run lead, but his hit was huge. First offering to Torrelas on the way. He gets way underneath this one, sends it foul behind home plate. Dropping back is Gomez near the wall, brings it in for the first out, and Torrelas is upset at that one. Not at all how he envisioned that at-bat going. It quickly brings up the shortstop, George Khalil. Khalil had rock-solid contact his last time up, but it was straight at the left fielder.
Shortstop number 28, George Khalil.
First pitch to Khalil. Low outside, ball 1. Been a tough game for Joliet. They've had a couple different guys need help from the trainer, just not feeling the greatest. A couple of them were after really tough plays as well. Glad to see they're all still out there and all right, though. The 2-0 to Khalil. Lets it go, and that one's good for the first strike on the outside edge of the plate. The kick and delivery from Thomas on the inside edge, and it's a 3-1 count now to the Australian shortstop, George Khalil. Defense playing straight up all the way around. The 3-1 to Khalil stays low, and he's earned himself a one-out walk. And at least 4 right now. The walk is good enough to restart Khalil's on-base streak.
Going back to the top of the order, the Edward Jones leadoff batter leading the Evansville Otters, center number 6, Miles Gordon.
Khalil has hits in 4 of his last 6 games. He'll have to wait at least one more at-bat to get an actual hit, but he got himself on base with that walk. Brings up the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Miles Gordon, who's 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts to his name. Pitch works high inside, and does it catch him? It does, in that high shoulder. And just like that, there's runners on first and second. Not the start Alec Thomas probably wanted when he jumped into this game. And that'll cause a discussion up there between Thomas, the pitcher, and Gomez, the catcher. As the night has begun here in Evansville, the temperature has dropped very nicely. gorgeous night for baseball as these two finish up a 3-game set. Last time they see each other until mid-August. These two squads could look a whole lot different the next time we see them play each other. First pitch to Zach Bierman. High and outside, ball 1. This is not the time to make a mistake if you're Alex Thomas. This is not the batter you want to accidentally give a great pitch to swing at. The 1-0 towards the left fielder, Zach Bierman. Thinks about going around, and it's a called strike on the low edge. That's enough to even the game, or even the set at 1-1. The 1-1. Swinging and missing was Bierman. The throw out to second is close, but not in time to grab Khalil. Zach Bierman ready at the plate, looking at a 1-2 count. Tell you what, great time to get insurance when it's Zach Bierman at the plate. The 1-2 stays low, and the count evens up at 2-2. The secret weapon down there with his cowbell, trying to give the Otters a little bit of positive momentum. Two balls and 2 strikes. The pitch is on the way to Bierman. Thinks about cranking around. Stays inside for ball 3, and he's got himself a full count. Well, the Otters would certainly take a full or a bases loaded 1-out situation, especially with Jeffrey Baez coming to the plate. Baez is certainly due for another big RBI hit. 3-2 to Bierman. Catches the low edge of the zone, and he's punched out with a strikeout, looking his second one of the game. It's the first strikeout of the game for Alec Thomas, and it'll bring up the designated hitter Jeffrey Baez with 2 outs and runners on first and second. Well, Jeffrey Baez is ready for his first offering. The pitch is headed home. Big curveball catches the high inside corner. Thomas really pulled the string on that one. The 0-1. Baez chops it foul to the right side. It ends up on top of the roof here at historic Bosse Field. Rolls back out onto the field. So with that, Baez falls back in the count 0-2 with 2 outs and runners on first and second. The 0-2 way outside, gets past the catcher. Both runners are going to advance 90 feet.
I would like to give a special shout out to one
The count's at 1-2.
His best friend and girlfriend sitting in the press box. So hello to Mike and Autumn. Here at the ballpark, friends and John Smith.
1-2 count to Baez. Runners on second and third after the wild pitch. The 1-2 bouncing towards the shortstop, DePrita Johnson. The throw in time. Otters can't add insurance this time. After 6 full innings, it's Otters 4, Joliet 3. What a game we've got from Bosse. Don't go anywhere. 7th inning coming at you next. And as we begin the seventh inning, Ryan O'Reilly will stick up there on the mound for the Otters. He's been impressive in the parts of the games he's been in thus far. We'll walk you through the line score, at least to this point, for Ryan O'Reilly. No runs on one hit through 3 innings of work. He's walked 2, struck out just 1. He's thrown just over 40 pitches, over half of them strikes thus far. He'll stick up there on the mound for Evansville as we begin the 7th. Due up for the Slammers, 2, 3, 4 of Birch, Jacobson, and Holzwasser. Each of the 3 have reached base. Holzwasser's been very dangerous, so Ryan O'Reilly's got to find a way to make sure that Birch and Jacobson do not get on. First pitch, swinging strike 1. Hefty swing from Birch, but he ends up empty-handed there. Otters have a 1-run lead at this point because of an error on Birch there at second. Made a wonderful play in the defensive end, but struggled to get the ball to first. 0-1 the pitch now. A half swing, and home plate umpire Mike O'Leary says it stays just a bit outside. Count evens up at a ball and a strike. If you missed it about an inning and a half ago, 47-57 in attendance tonight. Just a few more than we had last night. Beautiful, beautiful crowds here at historic Bosse Field. We thank you for coming out and supporting us, Evansville. 1-1 stays high and outside. O'Reilly falls behind in the count. Don't forget that the Otters are out of town this weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. 6:45 starts each of the 4 nights at Gateway. But they will be right back in town next Tuesday night. 6-game homestand. Whole lot of fun to be had here at Bosse. Get your tickets now at EvansvilleOtters.com. 2-1 to Birch. Oh, big curveball falls into the zone. That's a nice pitch from O'Reilly. I don't think maybe 3 or 4 times we've seen it all evening long from him. Defense set straight up for Birch. Not expecting anything out of the ordinary from him. His count's evened up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Birch pulled himself a double in the 3rd. The 2-2 from O'Reilly. A half swing to the left side. It stays foul. Torrellis will just toss it aside as the count stays even at 2-2. Birch on the season, certainly more of a strikeout guy than a walk guy. One of 3 or 4 slammers that have played a majority of the games, yet still have under 10 walks. Birch is also one of just 3 lefties in the lineup tonight. O'Reilly nods. Fires home on the 2-2. Pitch is sent significantly foul to the left side. Good work from Birch here to keep himself alive in the count. Fight his way around. We'll also take another look through the Fox Sports WIFX Frontier League scoreboard this half inning. A lot of games starting to work their way towards final, including a close finish at Washington. 2-2 to Matt Birch. Again sent foul. Let's start to go through. Top of the 9th inning. Empire State is going to fall this evening, and barring a huge comeback, they trail 8-0 in that top of the 9th. Washington just barely beats Florence 7-6. The Y'alls were ever so close to coming back in that one. That's a series sweep for Washington. They look unstoppable here in the West. In the 7th inning, the Ottawa Titans lead New Jersey 14-8. Could be another solid win for the Titans there. We'll try again on the 2-2 to Birch. Sent towards the right side. Sinsley has it go off the heel of his glove. That will result in the man reaching first successfully. An error on Sinsley allows the man to reach. Tell you what, that is a really hard-earned first bag for Matt Birch. Worked himself hard in the box that entire at-bat. Fouled a lot of pitches off, and put a tough play out there that Sinsley just couldn't quite make. The Lake Erie Crushers are down to their last out in the bottom of the 9th. They are down by 1 run to the Schaumburg Boomers. Schaumburg is looking to finish a 3-game sweep there at Lake Erie. That'd be big for Schaumburg to work themselves back up the standings. They entered the week at the bottom of the Western Division. O'Reilly's going to go check on the runner. He's back in plenty of time. Quebec is way up on Sussex County now, 6-1. It looks like Quebec is going to pick up a win that keeps them atop the East Division. In the bottom of the sixth, in Game 2 of their doubleheader, Tri-City leads Trois-Rivières 6-3. Looks like they might split the doubleheader. And the other game going on tonight, Gateway with a 6-2 lead over Windy City in the seventh. Kyle Jacobson takes his first pitch for a called strike one right down the middle. That Gateway team brings up a lot of question marks. Obviously, we'll talk a whole lot about it this weekend while the Otters are there in town. When the Otters saw the Grizzlies the former two times, that was a Gateway team that could not hit home runs consistently, and they weren't getting a lot of extra base hits. That's their bread and butter. That's what Gateway's built to do. Their ballpark is built to hit home runs, and now they've finally started to do that more. Keep an eye on this four-game set. Could have a lot of implications on what the Western Division looks like, especially with the fact that coming into today, Gateway's jumped back into the 3 spot here in the Western Division, and there's only a few games separating the two. Jacobson looking at a 1-1 count. Birch has himself a good-sized lead at first. They'll go check on him. That's a really good throw over there, but it is just a bit late. Sinsley made a nice movement to try to commit the tag there as well. Quick idea of what to expect over the July 4th weekend. Couple of good sets. Empire State and Tri-City are going to have a couple game set. Tri-City's the team that surrendered the first win to Empire State. Should be a fun set this weekend. 1-1 is half swung on, and the home plate umpire Mike O'Leary says yes, he did. Count drops to 1-2. And I would say that the big series I'm going to keep an eye on this weekend, obviously other than Evansville Gateway, is Florence at Schaumburg. This is a Florence team that prior to their getting swept by Washington this week had won 5 straight series, had put together a couple of really good outings, including a 9-run win over this Evansville team. Keep an eye on the Florence Yalls. They could come out of nowhere and cause some problems in the Western Division. That's a Schaumburg team that is also looking to kind of work themselves back up into the conversation. We'll see that Schaumburg team on Tuesday night here at Bosse Field. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the Otters face off with Schaumburg. And then next weekend, it is the Florence Yalls in town for the first time. 1-2 count from Ryan O'Reilly. Pitch on the way. Did they say, yes, he did? They say, yes, he swung. It's a German-American Bank strikeout, and Kyle Jacobson cannot believe it. He's still arguing there at the plate. Luckily, he didn't get himself tossed from the game. It's a German-American Bank strikeout for the first out of the inning for Ryan O'Reilly. That'll bring up Scott Holzwasser, who has been terrifying to deal with tonight. A single, a double. The double had 2 runs scoring with it. Also walked in the 5th inning. Ryan O'Reilly needs to find a way to get this man out. O'Reilly readies himself on the mound. A glance towards first. Sends home the first pitch. Swinging strike one. Competitive pitch there that came across at 88 miles an hour. No work in either bullpen right now. Teams seem to be happy with their pitchers, and rightfully so. O'Reilly looks really solid on the mound right now. Alec Thomas looked really good in that half inning for Joliet. The 0-1 from O'Reilly. Oh, man, I thought that was going to be a called strike two. Must have just missed on the outside edge. And for Holzwasser, he watches his count even up at a ball and a strike. Defense playing at double play depth all the way around. Double play would end the inning, and that'd be a nice pickup for the Otters. The 1-1. Sent flipping foul back towards the backstop. But Holzwasser falls down to a 1-2 count. Holzwasser slowly makes his way back towards the dish. Long wait before the 1-2. The 1-2. Called strike three. Big strikeout there for Ryan O'Reilly. He's got 3 German American Bank strikeouts now. That is a huge one against Well, the best guy on this Joliet team,
Number 8, Matt McGarry.
Matt McGarry, heads to the place. Let's walk you through some of the promotions we've got going next week. Tuesday night, another Taco Tuesday. If you haven't tried the new Supreme Tacos, you got to come do it. $4 a piece. That, nachos, margaritas, all sorts of good fun on Tuesday night. Astound will be here for Senior Connection Wednesday. If you're a individual 55 years of age or older, $2 ticket for you on next Wednesday night's game. Pitch to McGarry, stays high and inside for ball one. Then on Thursday of next week, it's just another standard Thirsty Thursday from the ballpark. Then that's when the big weekend starts. Habitat for Humanity here on Friday night alongside Eyewitness News, WEHT, WTVW, with giveaways and raffles all night long. The 1-0 to McCary. Called strike on the inside edge. And then one of the biggest games of the season will be next Saturday night. Florence Y'all's Evansville Otters will have Heritage Federal Credit Union, the Boys and Girls Club, and 14 WFIE in the ballpark for a League of Their Own night. We'll have a hat giveaway, themed jersey auctions, post-game fireworks. That's going to be a great night of baseball. If you want to grab your tickets for that, it's July 9th, next Saturday night, 6:35 first pitch. You can grab your tickets on EvansvilleOtters.com right now. One is the count towards Matt McGarry. And the 1-1's on the way now. Catches the inside edge, a really late call by Mike O'Leary. He's really calling the inside now. If you'd like to stay up to date with all of the promotions this season with the Otters, go to EvansvilleOtters.com/promotions. You can see the whole list all season long. Anytime it gets updated, it's right there for you. Pick and choose the nights you'd like to come out to the ballpark. 1-2 the count. O'Reilly kicks and delivers. Stays a little low outside. O'Reilly gave up the lead man getting on at the beginning. It was off an error, of course, but since then he's got back-to-back strikeout lookings. And he could grab a third one here on a 2-2 count with 2 outs. Two-two the counts for Matt McGarry. O'Reilly glances towards first and sends home the 2-2. Way outside. Good stop by Phillips to keep it in front of him. The count is full. So great to see so many of you tuning in on our Otters Digital Network stream. I'm sure there's plenty of you there on Flow Sports as well. Glad to have you here at historic Bosse Field on what has become a beautiful night for baseball. Post-game fireworks are starting 10 or 15 minutes after we conclude this game this evening as well. Huge crowd in attendance tonight as well, just under 5,000. The 3-2 to McGarry. Lifted out towards right field. McNamee will chase in, park underneath it, bring it in for out number 3. Otters don't allow runs yet again, and after the top of the 7th, it's Otters 4, Slammers 3. Time to stretch for Bosse. We'll talk to you in the bottom of the 7th right after this. Well, we've got up and stretched from historic Bosse Field. Tell you what, the 4,700 here at Bosse Field have just had a great couple of nights of baseball. Joliet has brought their game each and every night. These have been two closely contested teams. I expect Joliet to do the same in a couple of months when we see them once again. Again, it's a long time before Joliet and Evansville see each other once again. August 12th, 13th, and 14th, on the road at Joliet. Then they'll make one last trip here to Bosse, August 23rd, 24th, and 25th. Then that's it. Only 9 games between these two teams this year. Joliet has fallen out of the 3 spot in the Western Division after their 2 losses earlier this weekend. But I'm sure they could have a chance to pop back up if the Otters were able to take care of Gateway this weekend. Steven Sinsley, J.R. Davis, and Dakota Phillips kick us off in the 7th inning. Sinsley is 0 for 2 in the game, reaching on a hit by pitch in the 4th, coming around to score. Then he reached on an error in the 5th, got an RBI for that play as well, but was stranded at 3rd. He has really taken the reins as the big power hitter on this team. Had a home run back on Tuesday nights, one that cleared the first wall out there in right field, obviously, but just about got over the 44 news sign in right field as well. 0-1 to Sinsley. High outside, ball 1. Easy for him to let it go. As per usual, the defense is all pulled a bit to the right side, expecting Sinsley to pull the ball to the right. Usually he will, but most of the time it's over the heads of everyone as well. 1-1 the count, headed towards him. Curveball falls into the zone for a beautiful strike, too. Alec Thomas just had Sinsley playing out beat on that pitch. Have not seen any of our 4 pitchers really use the curveball much tonight. Second time I think Thomas has used it. Only once or twice from Ofterhide. Steve Pastora maybe threw 1, and I know Ryan O'Reilly's hit 5 or 6 thus far. Sinsley's able to leave a pitch alone on the outside edge, and his count evens up at 2-2. Alec Thomas wasting no time, already nodding at the next pitch, and now time is called by Sinsley as he's going to wipe off his face. A little toasty of a day today. Teams didn't take regular batting practice as it was a getaway day for Joliet, obviously, but still a toasty night as we worked into the evening. Big curveball again. Sinsley said, "Don't give me that one again," but goes off the glove of the pitcher to the second baseman, Birch, and they'll get a free out. Give the assist to the pitcher, Thomas. That one will actually probably go down as a 1-4-3 put out there. Brings up the second baseman, J.R. Davis. Now, officially, he's 0 for 1 on the day, but he's reached base all 3 times. His 0 for 1 was a fielder's choice that he came around to score on. Again, J.R. Davis providing stability in the middle part of this lineup for Evansville. And before the first pitch could come home, Alec Thomas steps off and regroups for a second. Big windup. Pitch to Davis. Called strike, inside edge. That's a nice pitch. Defense is playing pinch towards the edges. At this point, just trying to make sure that extra base hits aren't a thing. The 0-1. Davis fouls that one right back towards the netting. If there wasn't netting behind home plate, well, one of us here in the press box would have had to make a play there. Instead, it's just a backward strike 2. As Davis falls back in the count 0-2. Thomas has himself ready. Big windup on the 0-2. Just misses under the knees for ball 1. And the reaction from the Joliet dugout is not the happiest. Regardless, it's a 1-2 now for J.R. Davis. He thinks about going around. It gets out of the glove of Gomez. No one on base, so it won't matter too much. Count evens up at 2-2. If Davis can, obviously, Phillips is going to get an opportunity in this inning, but if Davis and or Phillips can get on, We'll also see Elijah McNamee in the half inning. The 2-2 big curveball really got away from Thomas. It stayed high, never really broke down towards the zone. Now the count is full for the second baseman, Davis. Three balls, two strikes for J.R. Davis. Swinging strike three. And he gets punched out even though it was a swinging strike. But regardless, it's a strikeout. The second of the game for Alec Thomas. That brings up the catcher, Dakota Phillips, who is 1 for 2 with a single, a sac fly RBI, and a walk. Phillips just trying to extend the inning. His last time up, he had RBI opportunities. Right now, it's just a extend the lead or extend the inning. Haven't seen a home run from Dakota Phillips in some time. He hit one on the road trip. It's almost gotten to the point where parts of this year we've expected home runs from him because it's just what he does. So much power in those hands. Lifts one out towards left center field. Chasing back is Jacobson towards the warning track, and he brings it in right in front of the tailor-made sign out there for the third out of the inning. We've played 7 complete. Otters holding on to a 4-3 advantage from Bosse Field. We head to the top of the 8th inning here, joined by Luke Stanley. Having a great time at the game tonight? That's good to hear. Having fun watching the Otters win, hopefully, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Huh? I announced Dakota Phillips, number 7, when he was up the bat.
Just about pulled a home run out, didn't he?
Uh-huh.
Awfully close there. Otters are trying to keep this game at bay. Ryan O'Reilly returning to the mound here in the top of the 8th. We do see an arm starting to warm up for the Otters out there in right field, just as probably a just in case at this point, as we look through the line of Ryan O'Reilly in this game. At this point, at least, he's given up no runs, 1 hit in 4 complete innings, 3 strikeouts so far. He's done exactly what he was asked, just to get out there and give a couple of consistent innings, help the game out when Pastora struggled a little bit. And if he can make it through this inning, it sets the table for Logan Sawyer to pick up what would be a league-leading 13th save. It would be his 3rd save in 3 nights. That's something that Logan Sawyer can just about do with ease, or at least he makes it look pretty easy. Ryan O'Reilly starts off this half inning with a called strike to Phillips Steering. So far in the game for Phillips Steering, 1 for 3, a single back in the 2nd inning, struck out in the 3rd, then had a big fly out in the 5th. That one carried and carried, but Miles Gordon was able to make the catch at the wall, crashing into the Deaconess sign out there. Swinging strike 2 by Steering. has himself threatening another strikeout here. Boy, would that be the way Ryan O'Reilly would love to start off this 8th inning. Hits are tied at 5 apiece. Otters have one extra error, 2-1, and a 1-run advantage, 4-3. O'Reilly kicks, delivers. Swinging strike 3, and it's the 4th German American Bank strikeout. Gotta love that from Ryan O'Reilly, keeping the game in his hands. Luke Mangieri, the first baseman, will make his way to the plate. Not much better for him. A couple strikeouts early in the game. A foul out back in the 6th, one that Torales just worked well over to the left side of the infield area and was able to bring in. That was an important out at the time as well. Of course, Mangieri is one of just 3 lefties in this Slammers lineup tonight. This is one of the first times the Otters have seen an opponent really change the lineup depending on who the pitcher was. They loaded that lineup card up with righties against Brett Adcock last night because they knew that Adcock struggled against righties. Well, Adcock just went out there and pitched very well against the righties. Adapted well as O'Reilly misses on a second straight pitch, this one to the inside. Down in the count, 2-0. Now, I know that the Otters have a man warming up. Looks like it could be Jake Polancic, and it is down there, warming up in the right field bullpen. If, of course, the Otters could get through this half inning, then Logan Sawyer would pop up and he'd start warming. No arms warming for Joliet. As to be expected, Alec Thomas has been good. Swinging strike 1 to the high outside corner. O'Reilly's able to get himself at least a little bit closer in this count. Defense isn't expecting too much out of the ordinary from Mangieri, playing straight up all the way around. Fairly deep in the infield as well, just trying to get the out. The 2-1 from O'Reilly. Lifted high, foul to the left side. It'll get out of play for a big, high, out of play foul ball. Evens the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. And O'Reilly could pick up back-to-back strikeouts with the right pitch here. He certainly got a couple of favorable calls from Mike O'Leary to help him out in this game thus far. See if he gets one here. 2-2 the count. The fans here at Bosse Field trying to get behind the Otters. The 2-2 stays high, and the count is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Fireworks are to follow this game tonight and put the cap on what has been a really enjoyable 3 nights of baseball for Bosse Field. A little bit of a breeze towards left center field. See if Mangieri tries to make that part of his game plan. Time is called, however, and we'll take a couple extra seconds before the next pitch. O'Reilly is just over 70 pitches in this long relief appearance for him. Looking to complete his 6th inning of work potentially. The 3-2, a half swing, and it stays outside just barely, and it is a hard-earned walk from Mangieri. Joliet's got a runner on with 1 out. It sets up the double play
Number 39, Lane Barrymore.
as the left fielder Lane Barrymore makes his way to the plate. 0 for 2 so far for him in the day. A unfortunate ground outs right back up the middle to the pitcher Pastora. Had a strikeout back in the 6th. That was the first strikeout for Ryan O'Reilly. He was also hit by a pitch in the 4th and then tried to steal second. Well, Dakota Phillips reminded him that's not a great idea. Threw him out on his way. First pitch to Barrymore. On the way from O'Reilly. Works high inside. Oh, just misses the zone. Nice pitch there. Looked like his curveball. Otters trying to pick up a win before they head on the road for a quartet of games at Gateway this weekend. 1 ball, no strikes to Lane Barrymore. On the way. Ball set on the ground just over the head of J.R. Davis. Just barely missed it. The throw to second. Not going to be in time, I don't think. They say that the foot of Khalil got off the bag, and because of that, the runner stays safe. And because of that, with 1 out, there's now runners on first and second for the Slammers. On an interesting little single there for Barrymore. See if Max Peterson makes any movements. He does. He'll go have a chat with his pitcher out there, see if we have a pitching change as well. If so, what a day it's been for Ryan O'Reilly in relief. No sign yet, though. The entire infield is making their way in towards the mound. And it looks like it might just be a mound visit. No indication down to the bullpen yet that they want to make a pitching change. With just one out, though, there's runners on first and second for Joliet. The Otters only have a one-run lead. Peterson says, go get him, kid. Walks back to the dugout. He must be confident in his man, Ryan O'Reilly. Really one correct pitch and the inning's over. There's a double play in order. So O'Reilly just has to have something work out in the right favor. There looks like there's going to be a pinch runner. At least that's the way Joliet seems to be pointing down. Hard to tell exactly what that was. They brought in their first base coach for some reason. Time is being called. It's currently Lane Barrymore standing there on first. A new first base coach is making his way over to first. Is that because they're going to make a pinch running change?
Ladies and gentlemen,
so it looks like there will be a pinch runner. Carson Maxwell is going to go run out at second base for Luke Mangieri. Maxwell, the pinch runner in this situation, because really that's the game. I mean, obviously that's the game-tying run out there at second base. Justin Gomez, the catcher, at the plate now. O'Reilly sends him his first pitch. It's swung through and goes off the leg pad of Phillips for strike one. And the Otters should probably be happy that that pitch didn't get put into play because it was working. Had he made contact, it looked like it was going to make its way towards the left side of the infield. Would have been a little tougher to turn the double play over there, but not impossible. No balls, one strike to Justin Gomez. O'Reilly has himself ready on the mound. The glance out towards second. The 0-1 headed home. Sent towards Davis. Sinsley will make the play. To second for one. To first. Not in time, but they get one of the runners, so at least the play is not empty. Barrymore is taken on his way to second on the 3-6 fielder's choice that allows Gomez to reach. Maxwell will reach third on the play, and it'll bring up the leadoff man, Tyler DePreta Johnson, who's 0 for 4 in the game. Game-tying run just 90 feet away for Joliet. And they're going to do it. They have to do it now. This is one of the biggest at-bats O'Reilly's had to face so far this season. Long wait for O'Reilly. A glance over towards first. And the first pitch to DePreta Johnson. On the way. Skied out towards right field. There goes McNamee, but it's going to get foul. Even if McNamee had gotten there, it wouldn't have been a play he could make. It was about 5 feet past the wall. There are runners at first and third with 2 outs for the Slammers, who trail by 1 here in the top of the 8th. Polancic is warming up for the Otters out there in right field. But first, an 0-1 pitch to Tyler DePreta Johnson. Bounce to the left side of the infield. Khalil charges in. The throw to first. Great snag by Sinsley, and that retires the side. Otters still trail by 1 as we head to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Huge ending coming up here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Don't go anywhere. Frontier League Baseball on Flow Sports is presented by Bud Light. As we head to the bottom half of the eighth inning, there's one word that describes what the Otters are looking for here in the bottom of the eighth: insurance. That's all they need. Find a way to bring at least one run home and give your closer, Logan Sawyer, at least one more run of some help. I do see Andy Armstrong starting to go down to warm up, so it's possible that we might see a defensive change in that ninth inning once again, like we saw on Tuesday night. Waiting for the first batter of the inning to make his way to the plate now. Finally, we're ready to go. Elijah McNamee to lead off here in the eighth inning. 1 for 3 so far for him. A single back in the fourth inning alongside a flyout and a ground into double play. And so far this year, McNamee has been incredibly consistent. Solid shot to left field. Barrymore going back, and it bounces into the wall. There goes McNamee to second. It's a stand-up double for Big Hit Mac. That is a big deer-head double-decker double for the right fielder McNamee to kick off the half inning. Anthony Torrelas, who will make his way to the plate next. He had a 2-run single back in the fourth inning. That was a huge hit for him. That tied the game at 3. Gave the Otters their chance to come back in this. No outs, runner on second. Anthony Torrelas making his way to the plate. Still a whole lot of people sticking around for fireworks this evening. First pitch to Torrelas on the way. A curveball stays outside, ball 1. Logan Sawyer is warming up as expected out there in the right field bullpen. In the other lane of the bullpen, Andy Armstrong is throwing to the catcher, Justin Felix. Torrelas showing bunts. Pulls away at the last second, and it's ball 2. Like the idea there, just move your runner and give you another option. McNamee has a good lead there at second. Torrelas showing bunt, pulls away, and it catches the inside edge for a called strike. Two balls, one strike to Torrelas. Takes a pitch near the hands, high and inside for ball 3. The 3-1. Put down the left field line and just out of the hands of the head man, Andy McCauley, for strike 2. Full count pitch to Anthony Torrelas. A runner out at second. No outs. Find a way to just make this a productive at-bat. If you can move the runner, even better. The 3-2. Zoomed out towards center field. Drops for a base hit. McNamee's going to keep his place there at third. And just like that, there's runners on the corners with no outs. Another base hit for Anthony Torrelas. I am loving what we're seeing out of that young third baseman. Now it is the Australian shortstop George Khalil making his way to the plate. 0 for 2, a foul out, a flyout, and a walk so far for him. Long wait before pitches here. Finally, it seems as if Alec Thomas is ready for the first pitch. First offering on the way home. Swinging strike one. Also, I meant to mention it as we started this half inning. It is Carson Maxwell who took over duties at first base after taking over the running duties for Luke Mangieri in that 8th inning. Whenever we hit the 9th, Joliet's going to have their 2, 3, 4 hitters up of Birch, Jacobson, and Holzwasser. Tell you what, if there was 3 that you wanted to have up for Joliet, those are the 3. Those are 3 really solid hitters. 0-1 to Khalil. Hefty swing. Just behind it. Hefty fastball there from Thomas, though. And it's an 0-2 count. Decent lead for Torales there at first. The 0-2 is headed the way of Khalil. Stays high for ball 1. Takes a little bit of a break before the next pitch. Finally, Khalil's ready to go. On the 1-2. Works inside, catches him in the stomach, and the bases are going to be loaded. No outs, bases loaded for the Otters. Let's take a look at what's next for them. 4 games at Gateway, all 4, 6:45 p.m. starts. Don't forget that. Then they're right back here at Bosse Field starting Tuesday night for a 3-game set against Schaumburg, then a 3-game set against Florence. They're home Tuesday through Sunday next week. We'd love to see you at the ballpark. As for Joliet, they're off to Windy City to finish off the weekend. They get the holiday off on Monday before hosting Gateway as well. Long stretch of home games for these Slammers. First pitch to Edward Jones, leadoff man. Miles Gordon with a swinging strike 1. Bases are loaded. Their defense is playing very in. The 0-1 to Gordon. Outside for ball 1. The count evens up. One ball, 1 strike, and time is now called as a balloon has made its way out into shallow center field, and Anthony Torales is going to go grab it. And applause comes raining down from Bosse Field as Torales has rescued that one. One is the count. Towards Miles Gordon. Fouls one off to the left side, up and out of play. Everyone will retreat back to their bases.
Brought to you by Construction. Choose the best, never regret.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Gordon ready at the plate. The 1-2 rides in high and inside, and the count evens up at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Sawyer's now had to slow down his warm-ups out there in right field because he's ready to go, but there's no outs. The 2-2 to Gordon. Lifted out into center field. Chasing back is Jacobson. Towards the warning track. Over the shoulder. Makes the catch on the warning track. Falls over. 1 run's going to score. A 2nd run. Working towards home. The play at the plate. Not in time. The throw out to 2nd will be in time, however. But 2 runs score on the sac fly from Miles Gordon. Somehow, though, the bases are empty with 2 outs and 2 runs scored. Not often you see a sac fly that scores 2. Otters now lead by 3 as the left fielder Zach Bierman heads to the plate. Still a save situation for Logan Sawyer. And Bierman's going to call time real quick. Now Sawyer continues to throw out there in right field. First pitch to Bierman. The curveball falls a bit low for ball 1. 1-0 to Bierman. Stays high and outside. The count's at 2-0. Just past the 3-hour, 10-minute mark of this one. Otters leading by a trio. The 2-0. Again works towards the outside edge of the plate, and Bierman's ahead in the count 3-0. It'd be his first walk in 3 games if he could pick one up. The 3-0 stays low, but it must have caught it at the knees for a called strike. Bierman kind of cocks his head sideways, was a bit confused at the call. But it's a 3-1. That one bounces in. It's ball 4, and Bierman will make his way to first. And this long 8th inning for the Otters continues. That will bring up the DH, Jeffrey Baez, who's 1 for 4 so far in this game. And it looks like, kind of like usual, Bierman has a pretty small lead over at first. First pitch to Baez is outside, ball 1. One 0 to Baez. Falls low and inside. Baez is way ahead in the count. Bierman, small lead at first. There's 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. Otters looking for some more insurance. A 2-0, cracked bat to the left side. Tough play. The throw to second is wild. There goes Bierman. Baez is going to advance as well. And there goes Bierman towards home. Another missed play over there, and Bierman scores. Baez finds his way all the way to third. That was a wild play. Baez reaches on the fielder's choice and advances on the E6. Bierman's going to score from first. Would have been a miraculous play if DePrita Johnson made it, but it was a very wide throw. And it looks like Logan Sawyer is not warming up any longer. It is now Jake Polancic starting to throw, as it is no longer a save situation. The meeting up on the bump has concluded, and Steven Sinsley is ready for his opportunity. 2 outs, runner at third. First pitch to him is left alone for ball 1 on the outside edge. Otters trying to conclude this 3-game sweep of the Joliet Slammers. If they did it, it would be the first time since 2019 the Otters have done it. Pitch stays low inside for ball 2. Long wait between some of these pitches. Alec Thomas just trying to hold things together. The 2-0 to Sinsley. Sent chopped foul to the left side. Well, and for a while there, Sawyer was at least standing there at the ready, but now he's actually put the warm-up jacket back on and is sitting back down in the bullpen, it looks like. Sinsley launches one towards mid-deep right field, and underneath it is the center fielder Jacobson. Finally, for out number 3, Otters are able to score 3 runs and have now caused the game to no longer be a saved situation. We'll let you know who's coming in for the top of the ninth right after this on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Otters explode for 3 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning. Not only did they get the insurance they needed, they gave their pitchers some breathing room. Logan Sawyer doesn't end up coming into this game. Instead, it's Jake Polancic. And for Jake Polancic, it's the first time he has made an appearance since the first game of the Lake Erie series all the way back on last Friday. He gave up 1 run on 2 hits in 1 inning of work, struck out 3. This pitching change for the Otters is presented by Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. It's Polancic on the mound. Phillips behind the plate. That pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Let them know that Evan the Otter sent them your way. Second baseman Matt Birch, who right now has the error that is responsible for the game-winning run for the Otters way back in that 5th inning. At the plate now. Birch so far in the game, 1 hit, a double back in the 3rd inning. He came around to score. First offering from Polancic. High outside, ball 1. Now Polancic warmed up for a lot of the top of the 8th inning, then stopped for a lot of the bottom of the 8th inning. Then as soon as he saw that it was no longer a save situation for Sawyer, quickly got himself back throwing again. Don't know how much that has to do with where he's at. Hefty swing from Birch. He looks fine right there. County ends up with a ball and a strike. Polancic is appearing in his 85th professional game this evening. Has 130 strikeouts in that time. Defense set up straight up for Matt Birch, both infield and outfield. Infield playing towards the back of the infield dirt. Long wait for Polancic between pitches here. 1-1 count. The kick and delivery. Called strike 2 on the outside edge. That's a beautiful pitch from Polancic. Worked up to 90 mile an hour there. And he's right around the corner from what could be a 9th inning opening strikeout. Deep breath from Polancic. Waiting on the 1-2. The kick and delivery. Sent towards Khalil. He'll pick it up on 2 hops. The throw to first and plenty of time for out number 1. Also worth noting is there was a defensive change to start the 9th. Andy Armstrong out there at second base. So he replaces J.R. Davis at second base. Purely a defensive change. Get the best guys out there to play defense. Brings up the center fielder Kyle Jacobson. No hits to his name so far, but he did reach on an error in the 5th inning. Was caught stealing second, though. First pitch to him in this at-bat. A ball on the outside edge. Otters lead by 4 here in the top of the 9th inning. Just looking to finish this one off. A 1-0. There goes the bat. Goes flying, and tell you what, thank goodness they've got netting extended way down here. That is the netting doing its job. All things considered, the count goes to 1-1. He gets some new pine tar on that one. Takes his time, returning to the box. One ball, one strike for Kyle Jacobson. With one out, nobody on here at the top of the 9th. The 1-1, called strike 2, right down the middle. Polancic trying to pick up strikeout 130 in his career. More importantly, just trying to work through this 9th inning. The 1-2 headed home. Bounces in, and Jacobson won't bite at it. So the count evens up at 2-2. Don't forget that our next broadcast is tomorrow night here on the Otters Digital Network. Otters are at Gateway for game 1 of a 4-game set. 6:45 first pitch. Pre-game should start about 6:35. Just keep an eye on the Otters Digital Network, and we'll have it up shortly before game time. The 2-2. Called strike 3. And Polancic earns himself a German-American Bank strikeout. And the Slammers are down to their last out. Big smile from Polancic as he heads back up onto the bump. But before he can call it quits in this one, he has to go against Joliet's hottest hitter of the evening. A single, a double, a walk. It's been a good day for Holzwasser so far. First pitch to him. Low and away, ball 1. Otters just need one to complete this 3-game sweep. A much needed one after a tough road trip last week. Next ball is outside, 2-0 the count. That was probably one of the lowest points this team has felt all season long, going 1-5 last week on the road trip. Knew something needed to change when they came home. They had really good starting pitching, and that really helped lead things throughout this week. But it's a 3-0 count to Scott Holzwasser. Defense, of course, straight up all the way around. The 3-0 on the way. Called strike 1. No denying that one. Three-one count with 2 outs and nobody on. This one's fouled back up over the top. And now Joliet's down to their last strike. Full count, 2 outs. Polancic needs 1 strike to call this one quits. Readies himself. Kicks and delivers on the payoff pitch. Zoom down the left field line, just a hair foul. We'll have to do it all again. Couple extra finals coming in from around the league. We will get to all of those during the post-game show. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Scott Holzwasser. The payoff pitch, high inside, and it's a 2-out walk for Holzwasser, his second walk of the game. That'll bring up the third baseman, Matt McGarry.
Number 8, Matt McGarry.
McGarry in the game has 2 walks, a hit by pitch, and a flyout. McGarry waiting for the pitch. It's just a hair outside for ball 1. One oh the count. It's sent back into the netting. Count evens up at 1-1. Holzwasser stands on first. McGarry at the plate. Down to their last out, Joliet is. Plancic kicks and delivers on the 1-1. It's outside. Good stop from Phillips. But Plancic falls back in the count 2-1. Evansville trying to close out this 3-game sweep. A little bit extra waiting time here between pitches. 2-1 is the count. The pitch is on the way. Sent foul back over the top. And once again, Joliet's down to their last strike. Deuces are wild on the 2-2 with 2 outs. Plancic trying to close this one out. Bossy Field trying to get behind him. The 2-2 headed home to McGarry. Swinging strike 3 and the Otters win. And it's the first sweep of Joliet in 3 years for Evansville. Much needed wins here at home before the team heads off to Gateway. We're going to keep it right here for the post-game show here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Game started with Steve Pastor on the mound struggling a little bit. He gave up a run there in the second inning, gave up 2 more in the third. But then Ryan O'Reilly came in and really put together a good performance for the Otters, helped back up Steve Pastor struggling a little bit here and there. You know, that was the key to making sure Evansville was always in a place that they could come back in this game. The game tied in the bottom of the 4th with 3 runs scoring for Evansville. Of course, 1 scoring on the sac fly RBI from Dakota Phillips. The other 2 scoring on a single from Anthony Torrelas, one of the biggest hits he's had in his young career. Then the Otters got the lead in the 5th on an error on the second baseman Birch that allowed Baez to score. From there, the 4-3 advantage held for the Otters all the way to the bottom of the 8th when they struck a couple more times. It started off with 2 runs scoring on a sacrifice fly from Miles Gordon. Rare you get to see a run score from second on a sacrifice fly, but then an error on the shortstop DePreta Johnson allowed Zach Bierman to score as well. The Otters take a 4-run lead into the 9th. Jake Plancic comes in, closes things out very well. At the end of this one, it's 7-3, an advantage in favor of the Otters. Ryan O'Reilly gets a much-needed win in this one, his second win in a row. His last win he got was a big performance for him as well. Cam Ofterhide will receive the loss, drops to 4-3 on the season. We'll take one last look through the Frontier League Fox Sports WIFX scoreboard. As for games that have gone final since the last time, Schaumburg gets a 4-3 win at Lake Erie, sweeps the Crushers. Quebec gets a 6-1 win at Sussex County. Tri-City wins the Game 2 of the doubleheader at Trois-Rivières 7-3. They split that doubleheader. And then the final game of the night, in the bottom of the ninth, Gateway leads Windy City 11-6. Looks like Gateway and Evansville are going to be the 2 and 3 teams heading into this 4-game weekend set. A lot on the line. Should be a fun time this weekend. Parker Brahms is going to get the start tomorrow night, fresh off 2 unreal starts for him. You can catch the game tomorrow night right here on the Otters Digital Network, starting at 6:45 p.m. About 10 minutes prior to that is when we'll start the post-game show there. Really thankful that you've tuned in to any of the 3 nights of baseball here from Bosse Field. We had a great time both here at the ballpark and here on the stream. Hope you join us in person next week as the Otters are here from Tuesday through Sunday. But until tomorrow, and for all of us here at the Evansville Otters, I'm Matthew Will. Thanks for tuning in for another edition of Otters Baseball. I'll talk to you tomorrow night at about 6:35 Central as the Otters and Grizzlies kick off their 4-game set in Sauget. Have a good evening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.